3 more minutes to the ball drop, baby. Come on! Woo! Woo!
Oh, hi there.
You're not closed yet, are you?
What's going on, my roundtable? My name is Excaliber596, and let's talk about the elephant in the room here. And by elephant in the room, I mean sudden 3-hour video that, once again, is not the Dante versus Link video. Now, don't worry. It's still coming. I'm working on the script now, and it's gonna be a doozy, so don't lose your faith in me quite yet. So for those of you who don't know, over the past few videos I've made, I've been talking about the Devil May Cry series and how powerful I believe its characters are. Well, this caught the attention of a Devil May Cry power scaler named Zimatorn, who I talked about in my last video, and what ended up happening is why this video is here now. Zimatorn looked through my second video on Dante and actually asked me to come on his Discord to discuss the topic. Now, I had never done anything like this before, and it sounded kind of fun, so I decided to take him up on his offer. This is the full recording of that entire conversation. We threw some ideas at each other, had a few laughs, and we actually ended up coming to an agreement. Now, if you want to know who agreed with who, you can either watch the video to find out, which I highly recommend for the entertainment reasons, or there's a file in the description below that summarizes all of our talking points if you don't want to watch a full 3-hour discussion. And if you haven't done it yet, please check out Zimatorn's channel. Like, seriously, he's a cool dude, knows his shit, look him up, see if you like him. And now back to your irregularly scheduled program.
Start the recording. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently speaking to Excalib. Okay, Shin, don't talk, but if you could just record the video in case I can't send it to him, that'd be appreciated.
Go.
Yeah, and that's what's...
I just got disconnected for a quick second.
That's fine.
We are recording.
Well, what? Did he say he's recording already? I didn't quite hear that.
Yeah, he said we are recording.
Alright, excellent, thank you. So I guess, Shin, mute your mic if to make sure like nothing goes on. This will be between me and him for the most part. Feel free to put in general chat if you guys want to say anything. Okay, so...
Who is this?
What?
Who is this person?
This is Excalibur. I talked about his video a couple of days ago, and he did a Dante video.
I don't...
You were here for that. You were here for that conversation, Shin. You showed up near the end. Just don't be rude, Shin. You know the rules. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and, so right off the bat, so regarding the whole holy situation, I was a little unclear as to what that deal was about. I do remember you mentioning that in the first video, but I'm not sure what your conclusion was on this new video.
My conclusion was that holy weapons don't actually neg Dante's regen. I originally thought they did, because he's half demon and we haven't really seen any holy weaponry in DMC. But then I got some comments showing me, hey, there was this thing that's described as being divinely blessed. This is actual holy water, and I was like, ah, shit. So
yeah, okay. So
I came to the conclusion that holy weaponry and holy shit that doesn't affect it at all.
Okay, so what was this, Jim?
I assume you're gonna need cans.
What?
You know, novel shit.
We'll see. Keep that in mind. But for now, we'll keep that because we'll work our way into these things. Let's not
way into as much stuff as we can possibly get to.
Yeah, we're gonna start off small and work our way through there. Because okay, so I have to ask, did you try looking at the novels before making this video, or were you just like, that's too much?
I honestly, I looked into the novel's existence, and honestly, I wasn't quite sure whether or not they were canon. I looked up everywhere asking, hey, are these novels canon? And everybody was kind of just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Because for the longest time...
There's some weird shit in that. I remember... I think I put the shit from the DMC5 novel in there. Because that was, recent. So yeah. I was like, okay, this is probably canon. It's just coming out with the newest game, so I should probably pay attention to this. I don't quite 100% know about the other shit.
Okay, yeah, because so they did.
I have done some research since. I did like read into it a little bit since posting that first video, but
Yeah.
I have not read the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand. I'm still slacking on reading the DMC1 novel. Yeah, because I think someone actually posted it on your comment section. I'm not sure if like it counts as spam or not. Because yeah, so after DMC5 and during DMC5's whole production, they confirmed all the novels were canon because Itsuno basically oversaw all of them. So yeah, that actually helps out, or I guess makes the power scaling a bit more complicated for DMC because of the DMC2 novel in particular. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So regarding the holy water, you are aware that the holy water does hurt the bosses, right? Like it does hurt Dante and Virgil in their boss state.
I'm sorry, like you cut off for a second there. What'd you say?
Okay, yeah. So this is going to be fun. You are aware that the holy water does hurt Dante and Virgil in their boss forms, right?
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
I was actually not aware of that.
Yeah, okay, see, because I noticed you said that in your video that they're not harmed by holy water. And anyone can confirm this for me if you guys want to play the game for yourself and find out, but I spammed holy water quite a bit in DMC4. It hurts Dante and it hurts Virgil when you use it on them.
Oh, really?
What?
Zim, you actual holy water scum.
Okay, so I played DMC4 Special Edition Dante Must Die, and I had nothing unlocked for Dante, so I was like, fuck this, and I just bought all the holy water I could and just spammed holy water until I could get weapons again.
It's like holy water, holy water, holy water. I am going to soak you till you die.
Dante became a priest by the time I was done with that campaign. Yeah,
he killed the first guy so he could become one himself.
Yeah, no. So there's the quote there in general if you care to look at it. But no, yeah. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware that it does hurt them, and if it does,
so holy weaponry does like affect them. You wouldn't say that that's just like a gameplay nonsense,
well, and this is where things get a little more complicated.
It's where shit gets fucky.
Yeah. Well, no, this is where things get a little shaky because So are you aware that the DMC3 demon Beowulf is technically attacking you with holy light?
I read up on that, but I don't know. Like once again, like shit gets fucky in DMC.
Yeah,
I heard. I'm pretty sure I actually heard this from you. Actually, that demons are technically also angels. Or something like that.
Yeah, see, this is where the term divine gets a little complicated in Devil May Cry. Because there are no angels in Devil May Cry, only demons. Itsuno confirmed this, and all the fallen angels apparently are just demons. So, divinity in Devil May Cry, and we don't have the full story yet. For all we know, holy water is just like actual divine. But it sounds
like priestly, blah blah blah.
Yeah, all that jazz. It sounds like divinity in Devil May Cry is just like highly refined demonic power.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not sure if that it's still called divine, so you could argue in favor that divine weaponry doesn't work on them because it's still called divine. I just don't know if obviously you can't prove anything. It's a fucking video game.
If divinity is like that screwy. I don't know. I guess like not describing like a demon. I don't know. It's too fucky to say, I would say.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to be aware if you were aware of that situation.
Okay.
Yeah, because I am aware that Devil May Cry 5's Devil May Cry's cosmology is kind of fucked all across the board. The second thing, yeah. So I put it like this: divine power or holy power is no more effective on Dante as like demonic power is. So it's just going to like equate the same thing. No real special effects on Dante, so to speak.
Okay.
But
well, like that like confuses me a little bit because like what if there's like an outside source that is like actually angelic and actually divine? Like how would that affect it if most, if not all, of the divinity in Devil May Cry is demonic based?
I honestly could not answer that question.
It's just what the fuck? I don't know.
I mean, it's up to the flip. It's up to the flip of the coin. Perfectly honest, like if you think that's not like comparable, I understand. Given
it's basically like two different schools of thought.
Yeah, basically, you either like give it to Devil May Cry. All right, they can handle divine weapons, which is where I'm at because, well, obviously I'm in favor of Devil May Cry. But yeah, given how whack the cosmology is, to say that doesn't work is perfectly a valid school of thought as well.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So going a bit further, your discussion of time stop. Now.
Oh,
go ahead.
you're cutting out a bit.
Okay, what the hell? Give me a second. Let me check and see what mic I'm using. What mic am I on right now?
Am I cutting out? Am I good?
No, you're fine. Okay, I'm gonna try this.
It's a little loud, but it seems
here. Let me
like it works.
Let me lower the input volume real fast. Or is it the output volume? Okay, how about now?
A little more. I'm pretty sure it's the output volume that you need to check off.
How about now?
That works.
All right, cool. Hopefully, I don't back out, or so to speak. Yeah, no. So, I mean, I understand Quicksilver, why you chose Quicksilver, all that jazz. So I don't really want to focus too much on the discussion of the time stops. What I wanted to focus on is the amulets for a minute, specifically the Flame Heart, because that actually makes Dante immune to all fire damage and heals him for fire damage he takes.
Also, the elemental ones heal him based on the element that he takes.
No. I can't confirm
just the fire one?
I can't confirm the other two. I can only confirm fire.
Oh, okay.
I mean, logically, it should work for all the other three, but I don't think the guidebook or I haven't tested this in game, but the guidebook does confirm the Flameheart does it. I'm not sure if the other two do the same thing because there's not many like places to test that out in DMC2. If you've ever played it,
I actually have not played DMC2 personally.
Good for you.
I hear Capcom pretty much wants to ignore it, but also doesn't for some reason.
It's kind of weird because it gives us the most feats in the series, so it carries the series in lore, but like gameplay wise, everyone just tries to ignore it.
Nothing about it.
Anything in the comments? Yeah, okay.
Nothing out of the word. I actually was not aware of that. I like based on my research of it, it just looked like it added fire damage to his attacks. I did not know about like elemental immunities or anything of the sort.
Yeah, no, I completely understand, especially if you're just like researching gameplay without testing anything, because that stuff can easily just disappear or go over. No one spends time like testing this shit.
Yeah, and also it's trouble because like nobody really plays DMC2. Devil May Cry 2 as far as I'm aware. Yeah. And like it's kind of hard to find like actual shit on YouTube to see whether or not that shit works. So
yeah, no, I feel you. I only live streamed the game once and then moved on from there. And it's actually my favorite, or more accurately, it's the one I love the most because it's the one that got me into the series. But yeah, I don't play.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure about the other two. I haven't tested it. I'll test it at some point and see. But I know for sure the Flameheart does.
I would think that the other ones probably do. Like, why would you make the Flameheart so much more like Jesus compared to the?
I mean, the game was made in 4 months.
Ah, wow, really?
Yeah. So the actual story behind DMC2 is Itsuno was given the studio 4 months before the game was due, and they only had one thing done, and that was an animation for Stinger.
Oh my god!
That man turned around and crafted something playable from a studio that wasn't even used to programming on the PS2. They only made arcade games prior to that point.
Wow. All right. It's Itsuno coming in, man.
Yeah, no, that guy came in clutch.
Coming in clutch. Absolutely fucking clutch.
That's why Capcom gave him DMC3.
Yeah, I could understand it after that.
They're like, we fucked you over. Here's the apology. Do whatever you want with this money.
Game design-wise, that's a universal feat in of itself, man.
Guy showed up and was like, let's do this.
All right, put your panties on, boys. Let's get this shit done.
Yeah, no. So yeah, definitely. I'm not exactly 100% on board with how Itsuno designs his games because a lot of the games end up unfinished. I don't understand why. Because Devil May Cry and 4 were unfinished apparently. 3 is I think the only game he actually finished. But respect always to that man. That man deserves respect points all across the board. But yeah, no, I just wanted to let you know about that regarding the Flame Heart because I noticed you said it was useless and it's more useful than the other 3 for now. Certainly more useful than the flying one. Certainly.
My main idea was that like first of all, once again, like I only thought that they just added elements to his attack power.
Yeah.
And since he already had weapons that covered those elements, like what's really the fucking point?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand. I mean,
but like an elemental immunity, like that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than just stacking fire and ice together and shit like that. Destroying the universe. Okay. So the majority of your video is spent regarding Universal Devil May Cry. Oh, and I have to say right off the bat, I cannot stress this enough. Thank you for not saying planet level Devil May Cry.
For correcting myself on that.
No, for me, yeah, because planet level for me is I'm weird. I'm okay with building level because I understand people are very surface level. Like they just what I see is what I get.
Looking at the cutscenes and nothing else.
I understand looking and like whatever you see is what you accept. I also, descriptions and stuff. I just don't get planet level because there are so many people who say planet level, and I look through everything like, how the fuck do you get planet level? No way.
There's not really much of a gray area there. It's either above planet level or below.
No way I assemble these blocks gets me planet level. It's like one of those fucking toys where you have to put the triangle into the triangle slot, and they just keep shoving the triangle through the square spot. Okay, so obviously talking about the Universal thing. So now I actually did do a live stream response to your video. It is down right now because I didn't want to give off a bad impression. If you didn't know that,
I actually caught a bit of it at the end there. I didn't want to quite join in because it was really late and I had to work very early in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And I felt like joining would just very much lengthen the time that I did not have.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I was able to catch it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I took that down for now because I didn't want to give off the bad impression because I know some people don't handle stuff like that very well, and I obviously didn't want to scare
some people get savage. Some people get savage.
Yeah.
I recognized. I saw this one guy in your chat who was just constantly I'm going to kill this fucker. Or let me at him. I was like, Jesus, dude, calm down. All right.
Yeah, sorry about that. We take our deal.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like a heated response.
Well, you also have to understand that we're kind of like a power scaling group that even within the fandom is kind of scoffed at, which is weird because no one in the fucking fandom power scales DMC. And they look at us with their they basically talk to us why would you even think Universal? Are you an idiot? I'm like, here are the feats. Look at them. At the very least, because most of the people on the Reddit will say planet level, which planet level, love that. But no one else really power scales DMC, so it always kind of irks me when we do have power scalers here who are willing to talk about it, and then the majority of the community is no, that's not right. We see this, and I'm like, well, here are the actual feats and all the descriptions and everything, and they're like, no, but we see this. We're not like Dragon Ball where we all have a general consensus. We're kind of really anti-divisive. What the hell is that? Oh, thought I heard something there. Yeah, so that's kind of why also they're a bit more, I guess we'll call it hostile. I'm not really quite sure how to specify that one.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So you start off with Sonic. Now, if you didn't catch the full live stream, when we were talking about your Sonic area in particular, because I wanted to watch your whole video to not misconstrue your argument or anything. Are there only the 4 feats for Sonic? Just out of curiosity? Because he has 54 games.
Sorry, I'm just, I'm seeing my icon light up a lot later than I'm talking.
Yeah. I don't understand why Discord is so kind of whack with voice chat. I don't know. We all seem to have problems on Discord regarding the voice chat. Not entirely sure why. Yeah, no, you're... Yeah, okay, so you're making some staticky sound. Not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, trying to figure this out real quick.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Yeah, because you gave 4 Sonic feats, and while I did call in the person I consider the resident expert on these things, who is a Super Bear Neo, if you know him.
But I heard him talking on your live stream.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just try something here real quick.
All right. Alright, in the meantime, I'll check and see if you got any new comments on your video.
Is this a little better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah,
okay, and it's actually showing when I talk to. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll just say.
4 Sonic feats?
Yeah, no, so I just kind of want to be clear there, because there are 54 Sonic games, and you presented 4 feats.
Okay,
why wouldn't those 4
saying.
feats be considered an outlier? Now, I'm not saying I disagree with where you rate Sonic. I'm just asking, like, what would be
why is that not considered an outlier? Even though, like, it's okay. So the number to like compare the other feats to actually goes down significantly if you really look into it. Like, yeah, there are 54 Sonic games, but there are like chunks get taken off when you like start like taking off like different chunks of the lore. Like, there are plenty of like side games that aren't part of like the main canon, the main lore. And then there are a lot of games that don't actually have like supersonic battles in them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sonic game has a supersonic battle. Like, there are like, so like if you ignore those because they don't have supersonic in them.
Yeah.
And something about Sonic is that he actually gets stronger in like 3 separate stages throughout his timeline. So there's like the classic Sonic version, and then there's the Dreamcast Sonic version. This is how the community labels it. Okay. And then there's what we have currently, which is modern Sonic, and that's what I'm basically scaling because that's like the current version of him.
Yeah.
The number actually goes down significantly to where it's not as much of an outlier anymore.
Okay, so it goes down from like 54 to 12, I'm assuming.
I can't think of the exact number right off the top of my head, but like it does go down significantly. I wouldn't say even like 12. I'd say like maybe.
Did you give a number there? I didn't hear a number. You said like maybe, and then it just cut out.
Oh, I said like 10 or below, maybe.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. I was just a little curious on that one because, I looked up how many Sonic games there were, and I saw there was like over 50, and I'm like, how are these 4 not considered?
Yeah, how do you? Yeah.
Yeah. When I asked Neo about it, hang on. When I asked Neo about it, he said that there's a difference between full power supersonic and non-full power because the gems aren't always at full power. I'm not.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing where they're as strong as they need to be.
Yeah.
It's somewhere along those lines. I consider like his full power to be just like his maximum potential with the form.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. So obviously, time to get into the meat, I guess, of this video. So I did notice that that a lot of your reasonings came from my videos, or at the very least, I'm pretty sure that the evidence and stuff came from my videos. Did you only watch the videos that talked about Universal Devil May Cry, or did you also look at the more recent stuff that had come out?
I actually didn't really look at your videos too often. The main one that I was basing my arguments on was your stream, and also a lot of comments that I got on my original video.
Okay. Yeah, so
I might have watched your original Universal one, but I didn't really take all of your videos into account except for that live stream and my comment section mainly.
All right, that's fine then. I was specifically wondering like where you sort of what kind of different way.
Yeah, where I got my information, where I got my points from.
Yeah. All right. So regarding the tweet, so obviously right off the bat, I do remember your argument there, where you know how Kamiya can be a bit of a troll and stuff. I'm not sure if I said this in my Universal video or if I mentioned it in the other videos. Pretty sure I did, but you can compare the tweet this person asked versus the other tweets that Kamiya trolls, and you can specifically see that they're different types of questions. A lot of the questions Kamiya trolls on are power scaling questions. The universe answer comes from a clarification question. There's no inherent power scaling in this question. He's just asking what's going on. And there's also a second tweet.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you can also kind of, like, when I said power scaling specifically, I meant, like, everything that could technically, like, pertain to it.
Yeah. The reason I'm making that clarification, or that distinction, is how familiar are you? Well, you're pretty familiar with Kamiya's Twitter, I'm sure. Or I'm not too sure, because I'll talk to you about your tweets that you bring up. He specifically says he doesn't like power scaling questions, and he doesn't like... He actually lists out the questions he doesn't like to answer, and power scaling questions...
I've seen that tweet.
Power scaling questions are in there. There's also technically 2 Universal tweets that support it. The second one is a little harder to get to because it's not in English, or I'm not sure if this is originally in English or Japanese. I don't remember. I think it's supposed to be in English. Okay, so the original one's in English, or the original one's in Japanese.
No, it's in pretty much.
Okay, because there is a second tweet where he does confirm that the size of Mundus's dimension is the size of our universe, where someone asks him what's the size of it, like is it the size of the castle or is it the size of our universe, and he says the latter. So he does stay consistent to the answer of the size of the dimension. Now whether or not you still want to argue Word of God is up in the air, so to speak, you know, because I understand. I personally don't think Word of God works in a visual medium, because unlike with the book, or what am I saying, Death of the Author, Death of the Author doesn't really work too well in a visual medium, because we all see the same thing, and only one person knows what that thing is supposed to be. Unlike with a book, where you can interpret it any number of ways based on the wording and, you know, sentences and such. We don't get a concrete look at it.
Well, I would say personally that I think Death of the Author could still work in a visual medium, because it is a story and could very well, like, interpret things differently even in a visual sense. So it might not be as necessary, I would say. Like, a lot of the times, like, you can see the answer on your screen, but if there's something that's unclear or comments on it and something seems off about it, I think it's just as viable to use as a book, because it is still the author commenting wrote.
I forgot to mention that if you try and ask Kamiya if you basically try to ask questions that he's already responded to, he will just full on block you and just link you to the original tweet.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Did he block you and link you to the original tweet?
Oh, no, I never asked him anything. Like, I've just seen all across the board, like, just Kamiya saying blocked, blocked, all of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I can kind of understand. Devil May Cry was a game he made years ago, so I can kind of understand why he would specifically block those kind of questions as well. He blocks some Bayonetta fans too for their questions. I don't understand why he doesn't like his fan base or what appears to be not liking his fan base all that much. I obviously can't speak for the man, but
His English fan base.
Yeah, I guess his English fan base, because I've never seen anyone else block as hard as he has.
I mean,
Yeah, he seems pretty block heavy.
Oh, okay, no. So I guess I was wrong about the tweet. The tweet's right there in the general chat. I guess he says the former, not the latter. You can take a look at the tweet in general for yourself. I haven't actually used these tweets in so long because I don't usually get too many new people hopping in. I did want to make another Universal DMC video with all the new information, but yeah, so that's the second tweet that confirms it. And you can ask countless stories about people getting blocked and sent to that tweet. But no, so it's because did you get the tweets, the 4 tweets in your video where Kamiya started talking about Devil May Cry?
Well, which one are you talking about specifically?
The one where it's like, my only opinion is that people continue to love the Devil May Cry series, both fans and its creators alike.
So you're asking how I got those?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, this is kind of a fun-ish story. I was actually like looking up on Google, trying to find the original Universe tweet. Like, I was cycling through them, and I just saw some of his like trolly comments, and I'm like, that's kind of funny. And I was like looking through them, saw that tweet, and was like, oh, damn! Like that actually, gets rid of everything that he's saying. So like I looked at it to make sure like it was legit, that it was actually from his Twitter. I actually did not know originally that he was referencing the reboot in that. I'm pretty sure that's the point that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, because we were I was looking for the tweets, or I was having people look for the tweets because I was curious where you got them, because it says 5 hours ago. So I'm like, are these new? Are these recent? What's going on? And then
you're cutting out a bit there.
Damn it, fucking Discord. All right, here we go. Yeah, so we were looking for them, and Shin here, because Shin's like my Twitter guy. He's a master of Twitter. He found it, and we found it was talking about the DMC reboot, and we're like, yo, that's a little sus there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's fair to like see that as like lying little bitch. But no, I was just like completely ignorant of that specific.
Yeah, no,
I don't think necessarily completely gets rid of the idea that taking Kamiya's tweets is kind of a little bit.
I mean,
it's a little on the weird side, because like, yeah, that specific tweet was not referencing the main Devil May Cry series, but he is also still not Cry series and is not even a part of Capcom anymore.
That is true, and that's why he blocks you if you ask questions about any other Devil May Cry game besides one.
Yeah, I've even seen a tweet where he's like, "Don't ask me anything about my old IPs."
Yeah, no, I'm assuming he got sick of it after a while, but I'm not exactly sure what they kept asking him about, because he answered questions that were really random, like what's the dragon called that Dante uses against Mundus? It's called Puff.
Little Puff.
The best lore.
Boy.
He talks about Alistair, how Alistair is trying to possess Dante the entire time when he's on your back. You don't actually have him on your back. He's just trying to possess you. Yeah,
I did not know that.
I mean, neither did the rest of the community, until he's like, oh yeah, that's actually what's going on. All this time you thought Alistair was your friend, but he was actually trying to suck your soul. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Hey, buddy, hey, Alistair, buddy, how you doing? I will consume you! Yeah, it's good. That's good. How's your kids?
And he wonders why he was left behind. Yeah, no, okay, I was just wondering on that one, because when we found that, we were like, yo, that's about the reboot, that's a little sus there. You like, I was going to say, I believe I did say this, you could have still used it, I suppose, but there should be more context there that was, referring to Ninja Theory's reboot, not the main series itself. All right.
Yeah, I completely get what you're coming from there.
All right, yeah. So then you go into Death of the Author, referring to the Mundus feat. Now, you do bring up Sonic. Here, let me go here. You do bring up Sonic's character, Infinite.
Infinite.
Yeah, I was gonna say Infinite. I asked Neo. He wasn't. He just said that there was nothing inside that pocket dimension for the most part. It was just kind of like a void. I'm not.
Yeah, it's kind of an endless void. I would still just using him as an example. I wasn't
Yeah, like I know he wasn't the main
necessarily
thing, but like I was just a little curious on that myself because you bring him up and I'm like, oh well. What's
it
all
still
that
is I believe it's still technically like a separate plane. Like I'm just talking about like that specific kind of general like void creation, pocket dimension creation, universe creation, whatever it is that you're talking about in that moment.
Okay, so just to be clear, that does not come from any technique because Neo said it came from like a shadow crystal or something that he uses a shadow emerald. I don't know.
It's the Phantom Ruby, I believe it is.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now. I just couldn't like remember the name. So he used the Phantom Ruby to do that specifically?
Yeah, but the Phantom Ruby kind of encompasses all of his abilities.
Okay,
so he basically is the Phantom Ruby, I guess.
Okay, and
that's not like
is like chaos control.
He actually is, huh?
Like, does he use it kind of like chaos control, where he has to have the ruby on him, or can he just like draw upon the power of the ruby?
Well, like, I believe the ruby is like embedded in his chest, so he always has it on him.
Oh, okay. I did not notice that.
Like it doesn't look like it. It just looks like a freaking triangle, like pointing out of this little fox's chest. But no, it's actually like embedded into him.
Oof, that's rough.
He wanted it, man. Like he was hoping for more power after fucking Edgelord Shadow comes in. He's like, "Hey, you're a weak little bitch," and I was like, "No, I'm not."
Is that really like? Because I heard that's what happened.
That's kind of the story
more
in like it.
The shadow ever...
more to it.
What?
There's a little more to it than that, but like if you want a like basic summary, that's what it is.
Does he ever fight
like he lost his shadow?
Again?
Shadow called him weak. No.
So he never.
No. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But it's like there's not an actual boss fight about it. This is why Sonic Forces fucking sucks. There's so many missed opportunities in Sonic Forces. He does end up fighting Shadow again and beating him with the Phantom Ruby. But like there's no actual boss battle to it. He just kind of like confuses him by putting him in this like separate illusion zone. Just kind of like fucks with his friends.
Yeah. Okay. Whack. Yeah. Okay. So then he needs a separate source of power to do that. More or less, he himself can't. I'm just not quite clear on what Infinite specifically is. I'm not sure if he's the strongest Sonic villain, stuff like that. I've heard terms thrown around.
Oh, sorry, I disconnected for a second there.
I was gonna say he's talking, but I can't hear him.
So far, I believe he's the strongest Sonic villain we've seen, apart from the final boss of the game, which has... What Infinite has is like a clone, so to speak, of the Phantom Ruby. It's a Phantom Ruby prototype. At the end of the game, has like the actual one, I'm pretty sure, in this like big mecha that's literally just a clone of something that he did in the last game. Fucking Sega.
I mean, well, if an idea works, why make a new one?
True, very true.
Okay, yeah. So I was just asking for clarification on what all that jazz was about. Because you bring up Kaguya. Now, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't too familiar with Naruto outside of playing the game, Ninja Storm 4. So very general understanding. But when you brought up Kaguya, I'm not sure if you watched this part of the stream. The first thing I did was like, wait, hang on a minute. Is this the same thing as what he's saying? Is this the same thing as the Mundus feat? So obviously I spent the better half of a day trying to figure out what the hell's going on there. I did everything but read the actual manga itself. I don't got time to read 20 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what is it that you're exactly like looking for clarification on?
Okay, well the first thing I had to figure out is did she create that dimension?
Yes. I believe it's stated. I don't know exactly where in the manga it's stated, but her personal dimension, it is something that she has created. You see other in the later series, Boruto.
Yes.
It's quite fun. You see that she actually has like other people from her clan, and they also have like these personal dimensions that are even larger than hers.
Yeah. I know they have dimensions larger, but the problem is because I went on the wiki, I went on everything, I even went on the other YouTubers' videos, and no one ever mentions that she ever created those universes, and they use the guidebook, but they never bring it up. And what the wiki says about her universes or her dimensions is that they're just her personal dimensions that she can teleport between. So then that's why I was kind of wondering where that came from, because I was a little surprised when I went on the Naruto guy's video, Swag Kage and stuff, and he did a how powerful is Kaguya, and he didn't mention that she created her dimensions. In fact, he only mentions the truth-seeking orb and references that her dimension might have a star in it, but her like power scales to the truth-seeking orb, not her creating the dimension. Momoshiki, I believe I have heard that he created his dimensions, but I'm also aware that Momoshiki is also vastly more powerful than Kaguya, but I don't know Naruto too well. Take the programmer's word.
That is true that Momoshiki is much more powerful than Kaguya, but I would say that attests more to the size of the dimension that he created, not necessarily one. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Like because of how strong he is, it means he can create bigger ones rather than like the ability to create it, because like they somewhat similar abilities. Suki can kind of vary, but since that's something that's actually like similar between them, safe to say at the very least that she has the ability to do so.
Because what I was informed, and I couldn't confirm this either, but so I'm just letting you know, is that she had to use a technique to create those universes, or use the infinite Tsukuyomi. I'm not entirely sure. My friend was saying the Truth Seeker Orb was what she used to create them, but as far as I'm aware, the Truth Seeker Orb is a purely destructive attack, so I'm not sure if that's accurate or not.
I heard anything about the Truth Seeker Orb creating anything.
Yeah,
I do know something that your friend said about it, that she used the energy from like the tree sucking up the world's chakra to do it.
Yeah.
If you look into like some of the top tiers of the verse, the amount of chakra that they have compared to the rest of these like modern ninja and like the rest of the world is actually insane. Like there's one feat in particular, Naruto, he has this demon inside him made completely out of chakra. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, the Nine Tails. I played the game.
And when he masters the ability, he is able to give chakra 3 times that of Kakashi, who is
I'm familiar.
He's able to give Kakashi 3 times he has normally.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that throughout the entirety of the Shinobi Alliance, which I think is like at least 1,000 or like 2,000 people. And he still has enough chakra to just like whip out all this crap that normally requires like a shit ton. Yeah. And that's just with like half of that original demon in him. Kaguya has that demon along with, I think, about like 8 other demons combined into one big demon that like outstrips them all.
Yeah. Okay.
The actual impact of chakra being given to Kaguya is pretty minimal compared to her like total chakra reserves.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So okay, that makes sense. It's because I know that she gets tired throughout the teleporting, because what she's doing during the fight is
Yeah, it is confirmed through like a couple of characters at the very least that it is tough to like actually warp through the dimensions.
Yeah.
Kaguya and Sasuke, I don't really know much about the rest of the Otsutsuki clan, but
yeah. So
proper to do so. I know that at the very least.
I guess it's not entirely fair to say she warps them to a new location. So it is a technique she uses to go in between the places, but the technique's kind of weird. It's like, I guess it's not so much bringing them to the place, but more like bringing the place to them sort of deal. I mean, take that as, I'm not entirely sure. It's not very clear. All I know is that she's not creating her battlefields. She's teleporting to them in some capacity. Take your pick on how. So,
yeah, like, I believe they are created prehensively. She's not creating the battlefields as the battle goes on. Like, they've already been created as they're going there.
All right. So,
you'll stand with the fact that she did create them.
Okay, so you'll stand by the fact she did create them. All right, that's fair. But do you have any sort of time scale, like anything from Momoshiki, to confirm like how long it took to do this, if it was with a technique or anything? Because everything else seems to be technique based. And I've said this before regarding Mundus specifically. If we find out that Mundus had to use like a spell or some sort of third party ability, it doesn't scale. But as far as we know regarding Mundus as of right now, it's A to B, which is why I'll be fair and say me and the people in this Discord are the only people who still use the Mundus feat. There are other feats, but your next argument does go into like all of them. So I'll get to those other feats when we get to your next argument. But that's why at the very least me personally, I use the Mundus feat because it's a 1-to-1 ratio, or it's a 1-to-1. There's no sort of secret power here, no technique, no nothing. It's just I flap my wings. I created the universe or stars. Take your pick on that one.
Okay. We can discuss that a little later in depth. So right now you want me to provide like proof on the like Kaguya thing you said?
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great.
I don't believe there's any specific statement. However, like I do know about the the ability that all of the Otsusukis have is called the Rinnegan.
Yes.
And it's like this super powerful ability within the Naruto verse, and
I'm familiar with the eyes. I played the game.
Yes, of course you had. Yeah, I played the game.
I feel like we need Neo in here.
No, we don't need Neo in here. If he wants to show up, fine, but we don't need him in here for now. Sorry, Neo's the guy I asked about this thing.
Getcha.
Dauntless is out of beta before Fortnite ever got out.
I'm sorry, Scott, that was my brother.
I getcha. Okay. So I can attest to creation feats for the Rinnegan though. Because there's one guy in the series called Pain. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with him if you played the games.
Yeah, I fought him.
Yeah, if you know about him, you understand that, like, this guy, compared to the rest of the Otsutsukis and their Rinnegan abilities, is pretty shit. Literally, like, the eyes aren't even his to begin with. Like, he just, like, got them implanted because he had enough chakra to technically use it. But overall, he's pretty shit with it, and he's basically able to create, like, this giant meteor. So if you compare that to, like, characters who are much better at using the Rinnegan than him and actually being able to use the Rinnegan to their full potential, and the fact that there is, like, space-time ninjutsu in Naruto, I don't think it's too far off to say that Dimension Creation could possibly align with that.
Okay.
At least in terms of the size that Kaguya is making.
All right. I'm just here checking out the Rinnegan, like the eye itself, to see if I can see.
The specific ability that I'm thinking of is Chibaku Tensei. If you want any.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Here we go.
If you want to know about that.
The 7
so
succeeded. It was a 7.
I don't know. Okay, it says user creates a black spear between their hands that they hurl into the sky. When the spear is activated, it generates a powerful gravitational pull, attracting everything in the vicinity until a large meteor is created, or satellite.
The stage
Some
of the
banks,
six
it
paths,
seems like they're.
somebody who also has the Renegon was able to, and once again, like he's not Renegon users. He's kind of like mid tier in there.
Did you say Madra or Obito?
No, the Sage of the Six Paths.
Oh, okay.
I don't care. Just love the game.
Yeah. Okay. So continue.
So yeah, and he's like kind of like, I guess like kind of mid tier in using the Renegon. There's also Kaguya, and then like the rest of the Otsutsuki clan.
Activision couldn't animate a minute.
All right, and he was able to create things with the Renegon.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, he was able to basically create the moon.
Oh, okay, yeah, I actually heard about that today, actually, while researching Kaguya. He rips out a portion of the Earth and makes it a moon, or a portion of something else and makes it a moon?
Much, yeah.
Okay, so, and I'm assuming he uses the gravity technique as well?
Yes, I believe it's called Six Paths Chibaku Tensei. Naruto and Sasuke actually use what I believe is the same technique on Kaguya to defeat her.
Let me just go ahead and mute this real fast. Let me see, Six Paths Chubaki Tensei.
If you need the specific spelling, I can get it for you.
Well, I'm on the wiki right now, and I see I see Chubaki Tensei. Let me see if this links the Six Paths. Yeah.
Might be like Rikodo.
Yeah.
Chibaku Tensei or something like that.
What?
Haguruma. Yeah.
While performed by Sasuke Uchiha, he does not use typical black spear, instead gathering rubble around each of his immobilized targets. Similar to Six Paths. Oh, here we go. Six Paths Chubaki Tensei. Let's see here. Yeah, sorry about this. I wasn't aware of this particularly.
Fine. Take your time.
Okay, so what I'm seeing here is this does seal away the Reni Sharingan, which oddly specific, but it seems to be another gravity technique where you create like a circle of gravity and that creates.
It basically makes the target the gravity sphere.
Yeah.
Sphere, I suppose.
Yeah, so that's how he created the moon, by creating a permanent gravity sphere, or by the time it was gone, it was already basically a moon. I'm not too sure. Wait, but I thought the moon was hollow in Naruto.
The fucking movie makes it super weird. I think what happened is that like then his brother hollowed it out for the rest of his portion of the Otsutsuki clan that was like weirdly part human. I don't know. It's very fucky.
Okay, yeah. So then, so these two creation-like feats seem to be gravity-based in nature, or at the very least, it doesn't seem to be like actual creation itself. It seems to be like using the resources at hand to manipulate into creation.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, assuming I can see Kaguya potentially being able to do more, but if
you're cutting out here a little, man.
I don't understand what the fuck Discord wants from me. Shit. I'm not gonna buy your fucking premium shit. But no, okay, so it sounds like to me that they can sculpt already present matter to what they want.
Yes, that is the case, I think.
Okay, so if that is the case, that is not what is going on with Mundus here. This is a completely new thing, because it's not even around afterwards when we're done, fighting there. And this also happens as well in the Devil May Cry 2 novel with Void Mundus, who is a more powerful Mundus from a separate timeline that can also interact with our timeline, but whatever. Well, we won't get into specifics on Void Mundus for now.
Okay. Apart from that, like,
okay, but like, how do you?
There is still like a dimension being made by Kaguya. My point is, that like this is being done by weaker users of the Rinnegan. The fact that there is like
These are all lost.
there's a couple of like space-time ninjutsus where like you travel through
certain, like, it wants
like
you
different
to win.
dimensions.
But I'm like, how
Yeah,
do
because
I-
if I recall correctly, the actual Kamui does that.
Kamui transports you to another dimension. I believe what is it called? The Flying Thunder God technique used by Fourth Hokage. It's also something along those lines.
if there was a bot version of this game, I'd play it.
Sasuke's Rinnegan ability also allows him to do so. Like, yeah.
All right, so okay, that's understandable. I do know there's some space time there. That makes sense for dimensions and stuff. Like, yeah, she goes to different dimensions and different places in space and time. All right, seems fair game to me. Given how the Kamui works, and from what I understand, the Sharingan's just like alien herpes. So that seems that seems fair to me. It's just that based on the examples we have, I think the more likely conclusion to draw is that Kaguya can go to a dimension that's already established and warp it to her sort of desire.
I know I might be wrong, but could you Google real quick how to fish?
You have to get a fishing pole. Look for a chest. You have to get a fishing rod. It's not even.
Oh, it isn't a tool you get?
Tell
Isn't
your
that all
brother
you get?
stop being a noob.
I have seen that. I did see some gameplay. Sorry about that. He's asking about Fortnite. Sorry.
Cool.
Oh my god, your brother plays Fortnite. Tell him I say he's a bigger faggot just for that.
Shin. We're making a video right now.
I'm recording. What you mean?
I know.
Wait. They can't even hear my voice. I have the mic muted.
What?
Well, I'm also recording too to upload on my channel too. So I'm having you record so that way if I can't send it to Excalibur, he can send it to his.
Yo,
subscribers.
it advertised legendary weapons.
Why don't you try fishing in that spot over there that's clearly asking to be fished on with the water moving around?
No, that's not. That's the part of the map I just haven't found yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
So
yeah, look, watch. As soon as I cross this domain, it'll light
no.
up.
On the link. Okay, I'm busy right now. Sorry. Sorry about that, Excalibur. Okay, so yeah, so I think the better argument to be made here, based on the evidence we have, is basically matter manipulation, which I believe she can also do with the Truth Seeker Orb. I believe that negates chakra, and her bones also disintegrate everything, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so I think here the better argument could be matter manipulation or reality warping, especially since, as far as I'm aware, the Sharingan and the Rinnegan seem to... Well, the Sharingan specifically is illusionary based, and the Rinnegan, well, seems to use gravity to do everything. Almighty push.
There are multiple different abilities to the Rinnegan.
Yeah, like it
gravity
can-
manipulation is one of them.
Yeah, it has like 6, right?
7, I believe. If you count actually like controlling the bodies, I think,
Oh, okay.
or like giving the powers to
The, like...
corpses.
Oh, neat. That's a pretty big...
So there are technically 7. There are more, but
I told you it was gonna be like that.
one, whether or not you were born with the eyes that it develops in, and 2,
Or being Kakashi.
the regular Sharingan. I'm talking like specifically about the Rinnegan here.
Alright, that's...
Like separate, like user exclusive powers that the Rinnegan can have,
Salty
but
Springs is still here,
it's mainly those 7.
Okay. Yeah, no, because so if one of them had like creation, like if you told me, or if you had an example of where the Sage of Six Paths was like, I want a moon and yeets a moon in, then I could be like, okay, so she created those dimensions. But if all the powers we know, because I know there's the what's it called? Not the Infinite Tsukuyomi. It's Genjutsu. I know Genjutsu's illusionary.
Oh, that's cool.
And it looks like the actual physical things she can affect are based on manipulating gravity. I just don't think there's a solid case here to be made that she created it the same way sort of Mundus created his universe. Oh, and also, regarding that in particular, the Japanese translation actually does add something that is a little... might be a little interesting to hear. I found out about this, like, I think a week or two ago. You played DMC5, or at the very least, you've seen all its cutscenes, right?
I've played DMC5, yes.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Yeah, like, honestly, man, if there was anything to be spoiled, I'd be a shit researcher at this.
Yeah.
You could argue that I already am, but like,
No.
specifically...
I mean, I've done research and I know what it's like to miss things, especially things like buried deep inside.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah,
I'm just messing around.
It's because I know you do talk about the guidebooks and translations later on, so that's why I'm bringing this up now, so to speak, to talk about this with Mundus. According to the Japanese translation, when Urizen is talking about the illusion of the sort of area, the Japanese translation actually changes the lines, actually. What Urizen says in the Japanese translation is everything is an illusion created by this fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So the fruit created everything, and Mundus also ate the fruit, so he has the power to create that completely. In case, because I'm not sure if you mentioned teleportation specifically at some point or illusion.
Yeah, I did mention teleportation.
Yeah.
Is it not possible though that like he's talking about just everything in the area?
Considering that the English version specifies this place, it's all an illusion created by the fruit, and the Japanese version just says everything is an illusion created by the fruit.
Yeah, but like the fact that...
Oh, go ahead.
I think it would make sense for like me saying like into my apartment being like, all right, everything's here for you to mess around with. Like, you know, it's the same kind of thing where he's like, everything here, specifically just not saying here, is made by this fruit. And that might be why also the English translation also like specifies this place.
I could see that as an argument if the game doesn't tell us the tree is the source of all life. Because so the game immediately sets up that this tree is massively important to Devil May Cry's universe by just straight out saying it's the source of all life. So I think when the fruit, which is more powerful than the tree itself, I know it's weird when you say it out loud, but that's technically how it works. And when he says the fruit, everything is an illusion created by the fruit, this explains basically everything regarding Devil May Cry's creation. At some point, I don't know, chicken and the egg situation, you feel me? At some point the fruit existed, and the fruit created everything, but the tree is responsible for all life, which is most likely why human blood is needed, because the tree created it, similar to how Kaguya is going back and grabbing all her chakra from her fucking disrespectful sons. Awesome bastards. Because I do know you talk about the human world and how focused it is, so we will touch on that later, but regarding teleportation specifically, teleportation has never looked like that in Devil May Cry. Neither has portal creation.
True, but I think it's fair to say that Mundus is a special case considering how powerful he is compared to other demons, where he can like teleport the things around him to another area.
Well, it's because teleportation's instant in Devil May Cry. When we see the cutscene, it's not instant, and we do see Virgil teleport in DMC5, and he is instantly in front of Dante, so teleportation is instant. And that's kind of one of the main problems with calling it teleportation. The series has gone out of its way to show that teleportation is...
It's a different thing.
Yeah, and regarding portal creation, well, we see Mundus create a portal like 5 minutes later. His portal is very different from what happens there. Yeah, so in that particular situation, that is specifically, well, I won't say it's specifically creation, but you know, it's not teleportation. It's technically not illusion creation either, because illusions shatter in the glass in the DMC universe, and well, sort of, depending on if illusions are real places or not. I'm not going to get into illusions right now. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself. But it's
like like in the Japanese translation, does Dante like actually like point out the area that they're in like he does in the English translation?
I believe...
Because, like, he could just be responding to what he's talking about rather than saying, like, everything was created by this fruit.
He does reference the area they're in.
And the fact that it does... Yeah, and the fact that it does shatter after... Not just, like... shatters after he eats the fruit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so... I think it's fair to say at that point that, like, it was just that area that the fruit was creating rather than...
that area is regarded as, in the guidebook, it is regarded as a separate dimension as well.
You're cutting out again, man. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That area also, in case you're wondering, is regarded as a separate dimension as well.
It's not the HUD scale,
in
right?
case you're wondering.
It is a separate dimension.
Yeah, it's referred to that in the DMC5 art book, which is where the guy translated it. What are you referring to? I think it is the HUD. Yeah, it is the HUD scale, but check and see if there's one for the menu. Sorry, our TV doesn't, like, actually properly scale the video games, so they're always on the corners.
Yeah, there's always... Yeah, I get that feeling. Okay, so it is confirmed to be in another dimension, not just like an illusion.
Yeah, it's called an illusionary dimension. So take your pick on that one. That's kind of why I haven't talked about illusions yet in DMC, because I don't think illusion means illusion in the Devil May Cry universe, and that's not like weird to say because divinity doesn't even mean divinity in the Devil May Cry universe.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is like interesting. In definitions of things, it kind of fucks with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I haven't stroked the line into that. But Mundus's dimension is, or rather, Mundus's feat is different from all those other examples.
Okay.
If you just click X, does it like take you out of it, or? No.
It takes me to it.
What the? Have you tried clicking RB or?
Dude, I've clicked fucking everything, dude.
Sorry, my brother is currently stuck on the.
No, I get it, man.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do your thing.
Oh.
Okay. No. Okay.
Alright, figured it out. Okay. So I could understand. I understand why, like, at face value, people could call it teleportation, but like when you look at the entire series, it looks nothing like what teleportation has been shown the entire series, or portal creation, or anything like that. It's completely different from everything else. So, yeah, and obviously the size of that dimension is, confirmed by Kamiya, but he is the only person who's confirmed it. No one else has come in and been like, yeah, it's a universe.
Or, yeah, like, nobody's, came out and been like, yep, that's true. Nobody officially at Capcom.
I've heard Itsuno did confirm it at some point, but I think he confirmed it in the way of saying, like, the information he said is accurate to where we're at right now. But,
what was that you cut out again?
I have heard Itsuno confirmed it, but I can't find the exact time he did. Because obviously if he confirmed it, this would be so much easier.
Oh, yeah, if he confirmed it, then I would, just sit down right there, like, yep, you got me.
So I have been trying to ask the person who told me that, can you send me the link where he confirms it? But I think he confirms it in the sense of, like, what he said and what information that's already present is valid, so to speak. So I don't know.
Okay.
If I ever get the specifics, I'll be sure to let you know on that one. Yeah, okay, so... so technically Mundus did create that event. That's not teleportation, or at the very least, it doesn't fall in line with anything else we've seen in the series. That we could fall, like illusion, teleportation, stuff like that. So that should be taken at face value. That's all real. That's all being created.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I can understand that point. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So. Now, because I was curious on the Kaguya thing. Control. I was assuming the Kaguya thing would show something because I was aware Momoshiki did create his dimension, but I couldn't find anything specifically on that. And your next thing is... Okay, so are you aware of what Mundus's goal is in DMC, or no?
My personal interpretation of it, and what to me certainly seems to be the case, is that he's trying to take over the human, like, I'll just like make this kind of for both of us. The human world.
Okay.
Whether you interpret that as like the Earth or the universe.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of what he's trying to go for.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason
and that makes sense completely within the series, because like it seems like demons are all about power, and like everything that demons get from power is from humans.
Yeah.
Control the Earth, and you control the humans, and you control basically all the power.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Unless you're freaking Argosax, apparently.
Argosax just like sits there and
Argosax just
swaps from male to female.
Just fucking exists in power. No, because the reason I was asking is because you brought up the manga, so we will talk about the sizes, but because you brought up the manga, and in the manga, Mundus's goal, which is stated in the very next page after the one you show, is to merge the light and the dark and rule both those universes as one.
Yeah.
So okay, so just to be clear,
like that's like his like
yeah,
well, like what I was talking about. That's like his like steps.
Yeah.
I meant to aim like biggest leap to that final goal.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously now your main argument was translation and the sizes. So I'll start off with the translation because I found out information during that live stream that I was not aware of. According to someone who I suppose has actually read the Japanese guidebooks, because he brought up like examples from them. One example is that according to the Japanese guidebook, Nightmare has infinite power and would destroy the demon world if he was released. Which is actually kind of canon to DMC5 now for an unawakened.
Yeah, because Visions of V, right?
Yeah, Visions of V over there is like Nightmare upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to get to that is because there's no translation problem here, according to him. They're not the same guidebooks or anything. So this isn't like a translated world from Japanese. He said this one came first, but I couldn't confirm when dates came out for these guidebooks. I am aware that the Japanese game came out first, so take that first as you will. But apparently they have different content, so they're not translations of each other.
Okay. Well, when it comes to that particular thing, I believe like in many cases where that is the truth, where like the English thing is written in first, it's very common that the Japanese writers will give them direction on where to go with it. And so I still think it's possible that it could be mistranslation, because they could have said like, hey, this is kind of like where we want to go with wants to do, and they could have like said world and they wrote universe, because that's how they translated it.
All right. But
it works in some areas. I don't know if that's how it worked here as how you will, but
yeah. Okay.
To me, like, it doesn't necessarily like disintegrate the idea that it could have been a mistranslation.
All right, because I wanted to go back to the manga.
How are they rivals? She doesn't even counter him.
Sorry, he's playing Dead by Daylight now.
That one.
You don't like Dead by Daylight?
I'm not into the spooky things, man.
Who would have thought a DMC arguer wouldn't like Dead by Daylight? Wow.
Nah. I mean, the game's not scary after like.
I'm shocked.
Actually, I can't remember when the last time the game was actually scary. It's kind of like
Michael Myers.
I've actually played it before. It's not that bad.
Oh, I was gonna say because it's not like jump scares or anything like that. Once you get used to it,
it's not like Jump Scare City or like fucking whatever.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's not that bad. I was just memeing.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. Okay, so back to the manga here.
Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna buy. I can get it in game.
Mundus's goal in the manga is to unite the light and the dark. So wouldn't the universe context make sense, given that the light is the universe of the human world, so to speak?
I tend to disagree that the universe is like the human realm in DMC, because like there's so much like weird shit that goes on within. I'm trying to find a way to word this right.
Yeah, no, I mean, go ahead, take your time.
The main thing that I'm trying to, like, you guys had a lot of questions about, like, why me saying, like, oh, it's so human-centric, so that means, like, Dante's not universal. That wasn't really the main point that I was trying to get across.
All right.
The main point that I was trying to get across is that the context and the stakes are never really seem to be raised sort of, like, universal level.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I understand the situation there.
I know. I believe you used like Ashura's Wrath and Bayonetta as examples as to why, like, that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. So in case you like clarification, Ashura's Wrath. How familiar?
You're cutting out again, man.
Oh my god, I fucking hate this program. How familiar are you with Ashura's Wrath?
I've played Ashura's Wrath myself.
Oh, good for you. So then, by your logic, Chakra of Arton is planet level, right?
I don't necessarily think it is, because in that game the stakes, I believe, are raised to that level because, like, you're talking about like a literal god of creation. Like, he says in game as himself, God of all creation, that he created all things, and, like, you see, like, a whole bunch of other shit that, like, raises the stakes to what I believe can be, like, taken as universal levels, whereas Devil May Cry, I've never really seen that from the series to much of an extent.
Okay, all right, yeah, again, that is fair. The games itself don't go on to say the universe is in danger.
Most of the universal stuff kind of seems to take place outside of the main games, and to me, like, everything, like, about those seems kind of sketchy in some way or another. One kind of has, like, some hole in it where I'm like, eh.
Oh, I mean, I guess Chakra of Arton is multiversal, but.
Well, like, like, when I say universal, I mean, like, universal and above. Like, I'm using, like, a sort of, like,
yeah, like, sort of
overarching sort of thing there. So, like, don't get insulted if I say somebody's universal when they're fucking, like, infinitely multiversal or something like that. I just mean.
Oh, just wanted to clarify. No, okay. Yeah, no, and I understand that's a lot of people's problem with it, because you got to really dive deep to find out the potential full scope of the situation, but that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the universe and the light, because, so you said that you don't think the universe is a part of the light? Or could you clarify that statement on that regard?
I think that the main context of everything within Devil May Cry seems to take place on Earth and in the demon realm.
Yes.
Like, the universe, it does exist in Devil May Cry. I'm not saying that it doesn't.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem to ever be the main point.
Okay.
Of anything.
But so
apart from, like, maybe, like, a few, like, odd statements here and there.
Okay, but so then, would you say the light, it has the universe then? That the light is where the universe inhabits?
I suppose I would say that the light is where the universe is, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because the light becomes the human world. So
yeah, it becomes the human world.
Yeah, in the context of the manga, I believe it's also referred to as the human world, or the realm of humans, mortals. I think it's...
Well, like, the thing that I want to clarify that my stance is that I don't believe that the universe was split by this, like, original entity. I believe that, like, it's more like the world was split from this entity, because it doesn't really seem like just based on, like, the stuff that I read in the manga, it doesn't really seem like he did anything to imply that the entirety of the universe was split by this decision, aside from a couple of I'm trying to like get my words right here. Like aside from that one panel that I showed from the manga, is actually like ripping apart the universe. He just seems to be kind of like taking the human and demon realms separately, I guess. He's trying to separate the humans from the demons.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll
Was
be
that
honest.
not the whole entire point?
Shin, what do we say?
Was that not the entire point?
I mean, okay. So first off, we don't know who or what separated the light and the dark. We don't know.
No, I believe we know it was a demon who's the demon king before Mundus. I believe.
Okay, yeah.
I believe that's all we know about it.
Versus Battle Wiki decided to name Pluto as a separate demon king and refers to Pluto as the demon who separated the worlds and stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, granted, I can't fully say they're wrong because their reasoning is sound for the most part. I'll talk about it in a separate video, but technically they've attributed an event that could have happened out of nowhere to a demon king, so to speak. But it is within reason.
Okay, I believe the manga states that like he threw a spear into the earth, and like that separated the dimensions.
Yeah, kind of. So the panels are a little weird here because you have two separate translations, and the context is kind of a big deal here. The context is referring to how the fallen angels came to be, and one of the panels, not that panel specifically, but the other panel talks about how this demon nailed the angels to the earth.
Okay.
So they say their translation where like he stabs the earth is the more accurate scanlation, which is a fan translation. But the context seems to imply that the other case of stabbing the angels to the earth would be the more accurate, based on context. But I'm not. From what I understand, people seem to just support the Japanese fully description. Like if the Japanese description said this is what we go with.
You're saying that original description? What are you saying? You said that original Japanese description was fan made.
No. So the scanlation is more accurate to the original Japanese. Characters we'll call it. I'm not sure how to say Japanese language. Is it just words or?
What are you talking about?
Japanese language, Japanese words, whatever.
Yeah. So it's more.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the scanlation shin for the manga. How they have there's an official translation, then there's the scanlation.
You cut it out again.
Okay, so there's the translation, the official one, and then the scanlation.
Dude, you're cutting out again.
Dude, what the fuck?
Discord's fucking with you, man.
Okay.
Your arguments.
Let me just write down. Okay, so not the important thing right now, but yeah, so technically there was, if we assume the versus battle wiki is correct, there was a demon who separated them, but they weren't separated because the Qliphoth tree still existed at that time period, which merges the worlds. DMC5 was like, oh, you got established lore? Fuck you, no you don't. Yeah, which actually does give a 2C feat to Sparta because he separates the human world and demon world in space and time. Puts a big old barrier in their way, a space-time barrier, which is confirmed in the DMC3 description for Gigapede. Yeah, but specifically, so regarding the size, you do know that the demon world is infinite in size, right? It says so in the manga panel you used.
I see that area, like those first few pages, as what is it that I want to describe it as? Kind of like a lore hype, you know. It's kind of like I take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt because it's kind of like, you know, like Once Upon a Time level. Story sounded a bit more epic stuff. Like you can glean certain events from there to be sure, but when something says like endless darkness or like the world of light or something like that, I don't. taken like completely literally.
I believe the official translation says. Hang on. I believe the official translation says infinite darkness, but I could be mistaken there. Would it help if you know that Mundus's army was infinite in size?
What was that?
Would it help you to accept this if Mundus's army was infinite in size?
Well, I don't think that really changes anything. Mainly because Mundus is able to create demons on the fly. So technically, yes, he does have an infinite army because he can just create more guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he can create more guys.
And he seems to be able to do it pretty casually because, like he said in DMC 1 to Dante, that he could make as many churches as Dante really wanted to.
Yeah, it's because the DMC2 novel specifies that when Sparta fought Mundus, apparently Sparta faced an infinite demon army. So it's a little based on how DMC2 novel.
You're cutting out again a little bit.
Okay, let me try switching my mic back to the other one. Okay, can you guys hear me better now, or is it still the same?
I can hear you.
All right. Okay. So regarding taking it like as kind of like a story, like Once Upon a Time, all that deal, my problem with that specifically is it doesn't phrase it as Once Upon a Time. It tells you like the universe was there and then it split, stuff like that. Like it's sort of
yeah, but it's still like I get what you're saying, but like it's still kind of it kind of uses that like kind of like hype language, I guess, like that kind of hyperbole stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be like technical about it, technically, if the sun were to go out tomorrow and everybody was able to like survive somehow, like we didn't really like need sunlight, hypothetically. You could walk around the world and you could still say that it was endless darkness and be somewhat correct.
So are you arguing that the demon world exists in the same like universe as the human world, so to speak? Like they're like separate planets?
I believe that the demon realm is planet-sized in a planet-sized dimension.
Okay, so
that's what I'm mainly arguing.
Yeah.
I would say that when the demon world and human world was separated, the demon realm was simply like put into another dimension.
Okay, but so we established the human world is the light, so to speak, that split, and we also know
in the context of the manga, yes, but I don't think that that's the actual. I think we just said that like you could technically say.
I mean, well, that's kind of the context of the verse. We don't have any other like origin story, so to speak, to like support or deny the claim specifically.
I mean, true, but that would mean that the original demon realm and the original human realm, when they were combined, were in the verse that they're in now. It's just that the demon realm to another dimension apart from that. I know what I'm saying here.
Okay.
Is that they're still in the same universe of when the original was in there, just the demon realm was put in a separate one.
Okay, so because you cut out a bit there, let me try and reiterate your argument back. So you're saying that the human world and the demon world are, or at the very least, the demon world referenced is planet size, and that it's just in a separate dimension from the human world? Okay, I think I heard yes there. Okay, so regarding the size, we know that the original universe was split in two, or the original existence.
I think that was part of my argument that was like slipped out. Like what I said was that like the human realm seems to still be in the original universe. It's just that the demon realm was put into another dimension that split it.
What? Oh, okay, that's one said something. Okay, so regarding that specific situation, that's never stated specifically, especially since the imagery does provide that the original universe was darkness. So, the more likely conclusion to draw, based on the fact of how the original sort of existence looked like, is the demon world stayed in the original universe, and the human world is what kind of skedaddled. Although we do know they were connected for a time because the Qliphoth tree had to exist in the human world as well as the demon world, and the Qliphoth tree merges both dimensions.
Again, like the way that the manga panels were drawn, I think it can be interpreted in multiple ways. So
Okay, so
like
okay, actually, hang on.
like
Hold on to that thought 1 second, because I'm looking at the manga panel as well. It does say endless darkness is a container of chaos, but even in such a world, there was a line of light. So yes, the demon world is the original universe, we'll call it, the original darkness, and then the human world showed up. So that does clarify that the demon world is the original. Also, the way the manga panel is drawn, the demon world is bigger, which would explain why it's endless or infinite. Take your pick on that one. Yeah. Are you talking, or is like?
All right, I suppose I can concede on that point then.
Yeah, because well, I understand why. The problem is we just can't confirm, and everything we know about the demon world, including I believe in the DMC2 novel, but I could be wrong here, refers to it as infinite or endless darkness, stuff of that nature. It's
exactly how many like statements are there to that? I know there's the manga scan. Is there anything else that supports it? I
know there's the manga scan. I want to say the DMC2 novel has a statement about how big the demon world is, but I could be wrong there. I don't recall hang on. Do you guys remember if there was a statement for the demon world in DMC2, the novel, by any chance?
I mean, I would check, but I just fucking completely fucked up my keyboard, so I have to fix
what statement are you looking for exactly?
Anything regarding the size of the demon world.
Yeah. Size of the demon world.
Is that Devil? Oh, it's Chief. Sorry, I got a personal message. Okay, I'll get back to you on that, obviously, because I don't recall specifically.
We can wait until like they find something.
Yeah, see if they can find something there.
In regards to the manga scans, at least in those first few pages, I think it can be a little bit too subjective to actually like definitively where you can say like that's exactly what happened, because it's all kind of made into this kind of like epic storybook recap type stuff.
I mean, if we had another story to compare it to, I would tell you the other story, but unfortunately, as far as we know, that's the story of creation until DMC5 came along and was like, let me just go ahead and put that Qliphoth tree there real fast. Let me just Photoshop that right there. Especially if we assume Urizen was right and the fruit did create everything, then like I'm assuming we'll find out who Farmer John is later on, whoever put the seeds in for the tree. But yeah, okay, so at the very least, so for now, at the very least, you concede, I guess, on the point that the human world and demon world are bigger than planet level, or bigger than planet size.
It's bigger than planet sized.
Yeah, based on what we know. Okay,
I'll concede to that point.
All right. Okay, yeah, because I noticed that some of your counter arguments revolved around obviously translation, which I understand, of course.
My argument kind of hinged on that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, because I remember.
Like not like completely. I have other arguments to throw out there. I actually came to like a different conclusion recently that we can talk about a little later if you still have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What I wanted to get to next was after you talk about Argosax and stuff, because you're saying like Argosax was merging two planet-sized dimensions, or so Sanctius in DMC4 refers to the human world and the demon world as realms. If that makes you feel any better about the situation.
Well, like it. I feel like it's consistently referred to as like realms and like other things of the knowledge throughout the DMC universe or throughout the timeline.
Yeah,
I guess it could like reach out a little bit more. Like it's a little bit more vague, which allows it to like reach different levels than just like world.
Yeah.
Necessarily mean that they're like universes.
Okay, but
yeah, now I do agree that they are universes now. So
okay, because I was gonna talk about your focus on humanity for a minute because you bring up the DMC recap, and you specifically talk about Sparta's rebellion as an example of why the scope doesn't seem to fit.
No. I just use that to like reiterate my point that humanity seems to be very crucial in this argument because like they specifically said mankind in that scan rather than like say the realm or something like that, or the human world or something along those lines.
Yeah, like I understand what your like argument
I'm downplaying like Sparta's feat there.
Well, no. Like you're not downplaying anything. I just want to clarify that Sparta's not defending the human realm here. He's just defending humanity. He really only cared about humanity here. Like there's no downplaying here. It's just that this isn't a good example of what like the scope is. Because Sparta cared about humanity. He didn't really care about the planets or anything. He just cared about the people. So that's why he's defending mankind. And I guess Earth by extension. Did I cut out there for most of that, or did that, like...
No, I got most of that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So far, I'm finding nothing, sadly.
Okay. We'll keep looking, and we'll keep looking.
Yeah.
Fix this laptop.
Yeah, because I'll take a look through too, just to make sure. Because I don't think we have another statement specifically, but I do recall there being something in the novel about this size of the demon world. Alright, so then it kind of looks like, so I guess the rest of the argument kind of doesn't matter regarding the whole human world debacle situation there. So, would you like to talk about your other points?
So, while I do now understand, like, yes, that the demon realm is, like, infinite in size, human realm is the universe, I don't think that necessarily says that...
Manuel's got something.
Says that, like, the characters in there are universal, per se. Because you don't necessarily have to be destroy the thing that you rule.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying, like Caesar wasn't blowing up continents. He wasn't.
Why does it sound like
you don't see fucking like Darth Sidious blowing up the galaxy.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
Just because one just wanted to rule the universe doesn't necessarily mean he is universal. And one thing that I also wanted to talk about a little bit. And I think you understand my like full reasoning on this, but I just want to get it out there. I don't think that Dante can't be universal. I just think it's less likely to use in a versus battle. And with that,
did something go wrong? Did you cut out? I thought the last thing you said was specifically that you don't think. Go ahead.
I'm trying to like think real quick.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because as I mentioned earlier.
God damn it.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, as I mentioned earlier, I understand that a lot of people don't agree with the power scaling presented to them or the evidence, or they rather still downplay DMC, even among the DMC community itself. As if
that's right. Okay.
Fucking power.
I think I was actually just gonna end my argument there. Actually.
Power of nightmare.
Like I just think that solar system level is likely on the scale. And something that I think is possible is that not only are they both like separate schools of thought based on whether or not you believe, whether or not you take the manga scans as like completely true. Whether or not you take the Kamiya statements as true, I think those are like suggestive enough to be like, okay, if you believe this, then that's usable, and if you believe this, then that's also usable. But I also believe that kind of used at the same time through the nature of DMC. So like, here's something that I'm not sure about, and I'd like to ask you about. Are demons less powerful when they enter the human realm?
Yes.
Okay. So I would say a good argument to make is that they can both exist at the same time, because I think Dante could be solar system level in the human realm, yet universal in the demon realm. Because I actually looked into this, and if you notice, his like universal feats take place either in the demon world or within some kind of hybridization of the demon world, like the demon world being brought into the human world.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying here. I have heard that before, specifically regarding, because obviously, yeah, some demons. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this, because unfortunately, as with the law of Devil May Cry, we don't have all the answers specifically. Regarding Dante in particular... Okay, see, and this is where I kind of have to jump into the DMC2 novel. How familiar are you with the DMC2 novel? Like, at all? Anything? Or
I read up a little bit on it recently.
Okay, yeah, because so the DMC2 novel kind of, to a degree, throws that out the window, so to speak, because of the Beast Heads and Chen. The Beast Heads can rewrite all of reality and are the physical representation of the future, basically all of space and time. Dante fights them in the human world, and he also fights Chen in the human world after Chen eats the Beast Heads and gains all their power, which makes him beyond, I believe, even the power of Sparta, according to the novel itself.
Well, I think, from what I've read on the Beast Heads, I think that there can also be another interpretation of that. The Beast Heads can simply send somebody to another dimension and also show them the future and the past, actually rewriting reality to get to that point.
In the DMC2 novel, when Dante's fighting Chen and he gets the power boost from the Beast Heads, it specifically says that Dante at that point had the power to rewrite all of reality any way he saw fit. So they can sort of like do everything on that sort of massive scale and do this in even separate timelines if we take the alternate reality trip into account.
Where is this?
The alternate
you cut out a little bit when you were talking about
DMC2 novel still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after Dante gets boosted by the Beast Heads, he has the power, according to the novel, to rewrite all of reality as he sees fit. So he could technically have changed anything at that point if he really wanted to. I guess he's just kind of like a shit son because he didn't bring back his mom or anything.
Is the separate dimension, or was this?
This was
like
in This was in the human world. So what happens is Dante gets drained of all of his demonic power, and Chen tries to turn him to stone using the Beast Heads because they turn humans to stone. But because Dante is part demon, the Beast Heads transfer power into him, and that power is, according to him, enough to according to the book, enough to rewrite all of reality in any way he sees fit. So the scope of its power, and this is just imbuing power. This isn't the Beast Heads themselves. So the Beast Heads are a glorified gas pump, if I'm going to be honest here for a minute.
Sam, check the scan. I just posted it.
Oh, okay, so we posted it in voice chat text. Or, wait, where did you post the scan, Shin? Oh, wait. Yeah, the DMC2 novel also has Void Mundus, whose presence sustains both the human world and the demon world. Once he dies, that timeline ceases to exist.
The Mundus in that one?
Yeah, Void Mundus. Yeah, Void Mundus. He's
From what...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Void Mundus specifically, I would say that that's more of a hybridized situation because it seems like he succeeded in his goal in fusing the dimensions. Like that, like he brought the demon realm to the human realm. He seems to have succeeded in that. From what I read, I don't know if that's like the complete information. Another hybridization sort of thing.
That's basic, kinda. It's not that he so much merges the realms. It's more like he becomes the realms, essentially. Both realms get infused with him. He becomes both realms, essentially. Because he's the nexus of power in the demon world, so he sustains the demon world. And everything in the human world has been corrupted by his power and has become a part of him.
Like, so the human realm has become a part of the demon realm, effectively.
Yeah, or a part of him specifically. Or connected to him intimately. Again, the novel doesn't just tell us like, oh, this is what happened. It just tells us that Mundus's power has infected everything and that he is the nexus of power of the demon world. So he sustains the demon world and essentially the human world as well, because they both kind of cease to exist after he dies in a few seconds later.
Oh. That's still like kind of a hybridization because like he has now like absorbed the human realm into that nexus.
The point I'm trying to sort of make here is that the top tiers of Devil May Cry can kind of bypass the human world weakness situation. Like they themselves aren't weaker in the human world because they can just bring that energy with them. That's what Argosax was doing actually when he was fucking over all of time and space too. Or Despair Embodied, who I would argue is comparable to Void Mundus, but I'm not going to get into that. Oh, and as you can see right there in the, if you look at the voice chat text Mr. Mangler himself pointed out that Dante says that the human world, after he shows up in the alternate timeline, is nothing like the demon world or the human world. It feels completely different from both of them. So, I guess you could argue it's like a middle ground area, but
like once again, like a hybrid sort of like terraformed sort of thing.
But that sort of weakened in the human world, that usually happens because they have to project themselves in a physical medium. For example, in DMC3, the demons are made of sand. That's why they're weaker, because they're made of sand. The god tiers aren't made of something else, with the exception of Abigail. Sucks to be Abigail.
Wasn't Mundus a statue at some point?
Yeah, Mundus was a statue watching you in the human world, and then like near the end of DMC1, he kind of yeets out of there.
What isn't Mundus in the demon realm for most of DMC1?
Technically no. So when you show up in the mansion, you see a statue of someone holding blue flames and a statue of what looks like Mundus. When you start going to the demon world, the statue disappears.
Oh, okay.
So he's technically
so he actually is in it. He's just like not.
Yeah, he's just kind of like watching you for the first half. Okay, so yeah, so there's Mangler posting. There's Mangler posting some direct descriptions and shit.
Okay. Actually,
hang on. So this is from the DMC2 guidebook. Shipmaster posted this. And prevent the demon world from consuming our dimension. So that does spread out, the terminology there, if that helps. Yeah, I understand that the games don't have this, and you have to find this stuff in the expanded literature.
Oh, sorry about that. I just got disconnected for quite a bit there.
Yeah, no, it's fine now.
Oops.
Yeah. So you could take a look at the scans they're posting there, which unfortunately I haven't sat down and fully set up a page with all the information so I could give this to you easily. Been slacking on
I don't see any of the Mr. Mangler you said posted it.
Shipmasters is the first one you should take a look at.
Shipmasters. Okay.
Yeah, it's the blue box sort of deal. That comes from Lucia's portion of the Devil May Cry 2 guidebook. He highlighted the part you should look at.
What is this? The human and demon realms were once one single dimension. Is that it?
No. Go down. It should be. Scroll all the way down.
There is no down for me after that. Like that's
in voice chat text. There's nothing down for you.
There's your thing that says translation official and scanlation.
Okay. So scroll up on Discord. Scroll up on the left and go all the way up to voice chat text. Yeah, the first time I had trouble with it too because I couldn't find it.
Used to be named something else.
It was, and you will shut your mouth about that.
Maybe.
Oh.
Did you find it?
I'm still trying to fix the issue here.
All right, that's fine.
And so, like, how do I do it again?
Okay, so you see on the left how you have all those like general and all that stuff?
You cut out again, bro.
Okay, you see on the left how you have things like general and all that stuff?
Channels, voice chat text.
Yeah, you want voice chat text.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, so
There's a lot of shit that I need to go through.
A lot of them are scans of the DMC2 novel, but for now, just focus on Shipmaster's one, because that's going to help you out a bit more. It expands the sort of scope of the plan, because it says dimension now instead of just human world.
The one with, like, combat mastery in it, or?
Yeah, that's the one.
And then, like, just go down from there?
Mr. Mangler's just providing examples from the book itself. Yeah, okay, so I guess what he's showing you is that in the alternate reality, the human world doesn't have magic like the demon world does to enhance demons, and there's still, like, incredibly powerful demons like alternate universe Trish, who can create practically, I think she can create, like, an endless number of herself, similar to how Mundus was like, I could create an endless number of Trish's. Mangler, just go up and read the first one. It's the same thing, just read the first square.
Wait, you say Trish can make an endless number of herself?
In the alternate timeline, I believe so. I don't think it's ever stated she can make infinite, but she can make multiple clones of herself, and there was no signs of stopping. I mean, it wouldn't even be a stretch. Void Mundus is way more powerful in this universe, so it would only make sense they gave Trish more powers. Infinite is mentioned? Legit. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess infinite is mentioned. I guess if you want to make a comment, Excalibur, you can whenever you're done reading the material or going over.
Just reading right now. I'm a slow reader.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure, like, nothing's
It's okay. We bite.
Yeah, so while Mr. Mangler's over there rushing through, yeah, Void Mundus in particular was kind of the big feat there. Here, let me go on. Let me just check out all the ones, like, I mean, usually I just check out.
Neither human nor demon. Okay, so it's completely different.
Yeah, because Void Mundus was like, sorry.
Any chance I could get the statement saying, like, the beast heads give Dante, like, reality warping powers or whatever that is?
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to get. I'm sure they'll, I mean, that one's super easy. I'm sure one of them can find it.
What does he mean?
Right after Dante gets his power absorbed by Chen, or right after he loses his power, and the beast heads give him back his power, it's somewhere there. Oh, it's further up in the chat, so it's already been put in? Oh, yeah, okay, so it's the first one after the manga panels. It's the first... Oh, it's already typed for you by Shin. or the Japanese letterings. Whichever helps you identify him better.
Of the actual like scans, or is it just like a highlighted sort of thing?
It's a highlighted, but the whole page is there. If you want the novel is out there for free, translated. I can get you the website later if you'd like to download all this stuff and look at it for yourself. But that is the full context behind the beast head, so to speak, for this scene. These are not taken out context or twisted or anything. That's the full deal. And if you want more context, we can either give it to you or I can just tell you if you trust me enough. The DMC2 novel's a really good read. I wonder if there's some bias in there. Yeah, because Versus Battle Wiki has like a total of 8 feats I can list off. I do add a few more in there, like Urizen and such, and the Clyfoff fruit in general, but they have 8 ones for characters we already discussed. You know, I don't need your sass.
Do we have the DMC5 strategy guide yet?
No, we don't, but apparently someone's translating the art book, but they haven't translated all of it, and the actual website where you get the free translations has not translated the art book yet.
Whoever wielded it could reshape reality to its own design, for better or for worse.
Yep. Beast heads. Fun stuff.
Beast heads, man.
Yeah, and as you can see right there, Dante points out that the power was simply just power. No good, no evil, just power in general. Which, again, they're essentially a glorified gas pump.
He actually, like, describes them as, like, fucking, what was it?
A power transformer.
Or that's what it was.
Yeah, and the beast heads were created by Mundus.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, Mundus created the beast heads. They're one of... So the beast heads can do all that time and space crap, but Mundus could already do that, and they only really absorb human souls and transfer energy to demons, so it wasn't very useful to him for the majority of his time, you know, after Sparta clapped him.
I mean, it gives him precognition.
So many Munduses.
Yeah, it literally gives
I can't wait for Devil May Cry 6, the infinite Munduses attack. Oh yeah, beast heads can also see other timelines. Yeah.
I was aware of that one.
Yeah, and also Void Mundus can also appear in other timelines as well. He can exist in other timelines. He visits the main DMC timeline and fights Dante for a little bit in the form of Duckus. So, logic... and
okay. Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah.
A summary of the...
Doom...
thing.
No, his name's fucking Duckus. It's not Doomus. It's fucking Duckus. I'm right here.
I must have literally missed that because I did not know that.
Yeah, no, like, I guess everyone misses it because, so, it doesn't tell you it's Void Mundus, but when Dante fights Void Mundus later on, he says the last time you fought me, you came out of the dog, which can only be referencing when Duckus shows up and fights Dante, because Dante even says, this guy's not himself anymore. Or something to that effect.
So, like, does he, like, possess Duckus, or, like, he just straight up...
He basically possesses Duckus, yeah. Mangler is asking permission to speak. I'll let you decide if you'd like him to speak.
Go right ahead, man.
Oh, Mangler.
Wait, we need permission now?
Yeah, well, I'm trying obviously to, you know, not like dogpile him. We're trying to have a civil discussion here and debate, so to speak. All right, Mangler, you've been given permission to speak.
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be very kind, very generous.
Mogmaker, who the fuck gave you permission to speak?
Alright,
Your Nightmare did. You gonna talk against him?
Hey, we're not ranking V just yet. Calm down.
That's already been done.
Okay, we'll do that later. I understand.
Excalibur, I really do recommend reading the DMC2 novel, as it is an interesting perspective of what DMC2 Dante would look like if 2 wasn't made in 4 months and was an abandoned project.
If it wasn't DMC2. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to look forward to. Go ahead.
Is that a confirmed thing? Like that this was like an original concept for DMC2 and they just made it into a book?
I'm not entirely certain, but
It takes place right before DMC2.
yeah, it does. There's a statement at the end of 2's novel that puts the 2-week timeline prior to the events of 2, because it says to be continued in 2. And he has like this knife or something thrown by what I presume is Lucia into his office with a map of the museum that he goes to in DMC2. And that's basically the alibi for how he ends up in the opening cutscene, because it's like to be continued. Though it's kind of weird because his personality doesn't entirely translate from novel to 2, because he's basically stone cold dead in terms of his emotions and his expressions, but in the novel he's like he's more like
actual emotions.
Yeah, he's like the DMC2.
I've seen the DMC2 cutscenes, man. Like Dante isn't nearly as fucking like chatty as he is in any other.
Well, that's because in 2, that's just Virgil cosplaying as Dante. That's not that's not Dante.
That was
it's not theory, it's canon. It's the only reasonable explanation.
That was my favorite theory. I love that theory. Love it.
Before Dante could use your motto, man.
I mean, well, in 2's novel, he's actually a lot more like 3's Dante, though he's kind of cynical in a weird way. Like, he's fine with killing humans if they get in his way. There's like a scene where he completely wipes out like Chen's his like phantom rider demon possessed humans and just shoots them all, and Barrel's like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I'm not much of a humanitarian, I'll just kill you if you get in my way. I'm like, damn.
Well, I mean, this is the 1 novel you said.
This is 2's novel. 1's novel is very different. Yeah.
Don't worry about 1's novel. We don't need to worry about that for now.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one. Well, I mean, we do, but only
we kind of.
We have
that's
to.
That's kind of the redheaded stepchild sitting in the corner that nobody really.
That's like.
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry.
The events of the novel are canon. They just can't exist the way they're told to us, because he already has his pistols in 3.
Timeline.
Oh yeah, completely. The timeline doesn't. None of that fits in the timeline whatsoever.
Also,
Specifically, Gilbert. Yeah, no.
I would love to just send like that to Insuno. I love Insuno for like what he made with like 3 and 5, but one of these days I just want to like find a way to like tweet to him and just be like, explain the canonicity of 1's novel.
I'd like to know how Gilliver fits into the story, please.
It's like, please explain this Virgil clone that uses firearms, something Virgil explicitly does not use.
Gilliver is actually Reboot Virgil in the main timeline.
Well, I mean, Reboot Virgil does use a sniper rifle, or well, actually, I think it's a semi-automatic. Whatever.
He uses like an SMG.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there are several feats, especially if you do accept the size, and the DMC2 novel kind of blows everything open by like just fucking tossing those things out like fucking candy.
Yeah. Also, it is important to note that the anime, 2's novel, and 2 all take place in the same year, though the anime stretches over a longer period of time because there's a statement in the first couple episodes, I believe in the very first one, before Patty and Morrison show up to give Dante a job, where he confirms that he only works about 1 day a week. So since there's about 12 episodes, save for the last episode where it's continued over from one to another, because he's like fighting Sid, and then
the entire thing takes place in like 3 months. Basically.
Yeah. Well, roughly, yeah.
Yeah, like there's like a couple of like part 1, part 2 sort of things.
Yeah,
but
11 weeks more or less.
It's also the best way to scale Lady, of all things.
Dude,
tossing Rebellion across a freeway.
I told you, man. I fucking told you.
No, you didn't.
I told you Lady had feats in the anime. You should have fucking watched it sooner.
I don't know if I denied that. I just said, like, I don't want to scale DMC anime Dante, and you're like, you're gonna do it.
Bro.
Was your exact answer?
I'm just like, fucking watch the anime. All this is explained in the anime.
She blocked Yamato in DMC3. It makes her absolutely universal, no question.
Well, I mean, Yamato can't cut through the rocket launchers, so obviously any statements made to its ability to ignore durability are completely irrelevant.
Ignore the fact in DMC4 it cuts a giant-ass fucking stone pillar down.
Well, I've had people... Actually, this is a good time to talk about the whole, like, scaling weakened characters. I've had people try to tell me that Lady definitely based on her feats in the anime is some odd level of like superhuman. Like she's driving on like a motorcycle on I think like 40-50 miles an hour, and she chucks Rebellion with perfect accuracy and its weight at Dante while he's also driving on a freeway and doesn't slow down.
Yeah,
that's beyond wall level. That's clearly beyond wall level. That's way beyond wall level.
I'm more concerned with the fact that she was able to accurately throw it at him and then proceeded to drive off.
I'm telling you, ladies not fucking human. They keep lying to us. I guarantee you we're gonna find out that Arkham did some shit to her in DMC6.
Is it like the first daughter of Sparta or some shit?
Dude.
Even though she's younger.
Well, now hang on a minute. Chen could go around finding all of Sparta's DNA. Who's to say Arkham couldn't like infuse something in the lady? DMC6, come on, we're giving you these fucking plot threads.
So, some people have tried to tell me, as well as other people in this Discord, that Lady, by virtue of blocking Yamato, should be at least continent level if she's... Because if Dante and Virgil are like star to solar system level, right, like... Even in a weakened state, they should be capable. I need to be clear to you, to everyone here, again, you can't scale a weakened character because you don't know what they're capable of.
I never thought for a second that Lady had fucking anything to do with this fucking Virgil, man.
You can scale a weakened character if you know definitively where another character stands and they're capable of beating that one.
You can know, like exactly, if you know exactly how much weaker a character is, you can scale them off of that. But like,
yeah, but you have to know exactly how weakened they are. Like,
okay, people.
Like you can't just see like one bead of sweat off of Virgil's face and be like, "Yo, man."
Okay, guys, don't be fooled. Mangler's only saying this because he doesn't want Nero to be stronger than Dante and Virgil.
I don't want what? What's happening? I cut out. And
okay. What I said was
cut out there, buddy.
What I was gonna say is that don't listen to Mangler, guys. He's just saying this so Nero can't be scaled to
Dante
and
cut
Virgil.
out again.
Are you serious?
Why is everything important that you... Everything important that
you guys are
have
gonna watch
to
the video and find out just how great that line was. I'm not even gonna repeat it. You guys can find out for yourselves.
Just message it in the voice chat. The voice chat can't silence you. It can't. It doesn't have the power.
This is some bullshit.
I know. Well, now you know how I feel.
Oh, shut it.
Hey, you invited me.
Okay, so I'll let you guys find out that little gem later.
Mic for a second again because I think my voice is getting delayed again. So
all right,
just fix that real quick.
We'll wait for you.
Just use the text chat, Zima. Just
no. You'll find out what I said.
Succumb to its influence.
You'll find out what I said, and then you'll be like, I can't.
I'll find out what it said like hours later.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, I can't believe you would say that.
Well, if it was
can't believe you would what? You cut out there again.
Oh, go fuck yourselves.
This is just too good.
Okay, so...
okay, I think I'm good now. Yep, there we go.
Okay, so hopefully I don't get cut out for like more than 2 fucking words.
Also, that Lady versus Virgil is important to let people know that Yamato cannot cut when the wielder is weakened. Though, for some reason, I've had to explain this to some people when they saw that cutscene, and I'm like, wait a minute, you realize Jester, like, not even, like...
Yeah, 2 minutes ago stated that Virgil was weakened.
He just says, like, you would have cut me into into confetti if you were not in tip-top condition, and it's like, how do you miss that? He says it right afterwards. Well, not immediately afterwards.
And based on what I've seen from Virgil, like, I could be completely wrong here, But it seems to me like he needs to take that certain like Dark Slayer style stance in order to actually use the cutting.
Not necessarily. There are times when he's literally like in DMC5 where he's just dying. And he's just like, I need to get out of here now. I ripped off my... Well, he doesn't know Nero's his son, but like...
He knew. He knew what he was doing.
He did not know.
Oh, he did not know. Like, at the very last...
He was just stopping Nero from masturbating. Come on now.
He's like, unholy.
Man, come on,
why would you stop
that? My J-O-hand, man. My J-O-hand.
And Nero's just like, you bitch. Like,
I'm saving your soul.
Jesus, is your mind good, Zim?
I'll fucking fight you all!
It's like he took all of the interference from my mic from all of our calls and then like put it into his mic for the duration of
You're literally absorbing all of his quality, man.
Hello?
So...
Okay.
Yeah, Virgil doesn't necessarily need to take that stance because the cutting power of the blade makes it in such a way that if a person is just in a good physical condition and they know how to use the blade, then they can generally cut through most things in reality, as long as, well, first of all, the person that they're cutting doesn't have rebellion.
Rebellion's kind of an outlier there, because isn't that like the other like third of Sparta's powder?
Well, we don't know exactly why it doesn't cut through rebellion. We just know that it doesn't cut through rebellion. Like, it consistently has feats where Dante is fighting against Virgil, and Virgil is not able to cut him with the Yamato.
It kind of seems like that kind of like Harry Potter versus Voldemort wand shit, where they can't destroy each other. So,
but as soon as it's weird because rebellion is stated to be like the physical manifestation of Dante's power, as per DMC4's description. And then he fights like Beowulf in DMC3, and he's faster than Beowulf. He can tank Beowulf's hits, so he's in his tier, but he can't damage Beowulf. There's no like physical damage on his body. The only thing he's able to do is blind him, and then Beowulf just like runs away. Goes into the Lair of Judgment, and Virgil kills him immediately as soon as he pulls out the Yamato. So it's like, wait a minute, if you're in the same or similar tier, what does this have to do with... And I have to explain to people, like, yeah, Beowulf probably would have killed Dante had that fight gone on and Dante had not blinded him. Because he would have just outlasted him on stamina alone. Whereas Virgil's got a sword that ignores durability. Kind of a little bit. Like, it's like...
kind of a little bit of a matchup there.
Perfectly balanced.
As all things should be.
Okay.
Virgil's using hacks, ban him.
No hacks here. It's all fair game.
Oh yeah, the other thing about Judgment Cut, or not Judgment Cut, Yamato. Well, now that I said Judgment Cut, you can hit people in other dimensions with Judgment Cut, as it is a sword that cuts through dimensions. However, you do need to know where they're located to be able to fire it. Unless it's like a dimension that you can prove is like physically located next to yours, in which, like, if we were to say like Dante versus Bayonetta, right, and they're sitting in like Bayonetta's human world, or they're basically their Earth, and Purgatory is literally like physically located next to their Earth, and Virgil just decides to blow up the entire area with a bunch of Judgment Cuts, and Bayonetta's like 5 feet from him. There's a chance he's probably going to kill her, like more than likely, because he's going to be cutting through both dimensions, and she's in a physical space directly located. If he can sense her, he's probably going to know where to fire it either way.
Okay, so that's all well and good, but I'm a little curious about Sin Devil Trigger's multiplier.
Sam, we don't talk about that here.
No, because you said it was an 8 times multiplier in your video. May I ask where that number potentially came from?
That was just a number that I kind of came up with based on my own
okay, thank God,
interpretations of the series. I've never seen it anywhere. It was just if you look at my original video, I explain why I believe that is. But basically, it's my interpretation is that it's basically his regular Devil Trigger went
ape shit
trigger. because weapons do have the ability to like change a devil trigger. I know it hasn't been like that for a while, but we've seen that it does happen.
Yeah.
And because Dante absorbed the Sparta, that's kind of what's happening.
it kind of looks like the perfect devil trigger.
Wait, is this actually?
Yeah, and he only uses the Devil Sword Dante.
Is this under the impression that like the normal DT is like a 2 times multiplier and then you just squared it?
Kinda.
Okay. Well, 2 squared is 8, right?
Yeah, because that's
like the idea was basically it was more along the lines of I think.
Well, now math.
I got this.
It was more along the lines of I think that Sparta Devil Trigger is a 4 times increase just because it's more powerful than the other Devil Trigger. Well, this is an 8 times increase to his base, not like
we know a Devil Trigger as far as the first time it's demonstrated at the beginning of DMC3 would be a several times increase, being it's at least 3 because an unconscious Dante goes from literally almost dying to physically pushing back a Virgil who was only slightly breathing hard against him, and then was perfectly fine after Dante stopped resisting.
Push the mangler button.
No. I was just saying like that's the explanation I grant for several times.
Wait, you all don't know math?
Hey, shut up.
This is based on like the actual like scaling from the series because isn't there something in the guidebooks that says it's like a 2 times increase or something?
Yeah, Devil May Cry 1 guidebook. But I do have to preface that because it's a guidebook and it's not written like lore, that could very well be talking just about the gameplay side of things. But it is the only number.
Like it does like twice the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even if
I think that still can work.
It's unfortunate.
It's kind of, like in terms of like actually like scaling. It's always been kind of hard for me to gauge like how powerful somebody is, their state in combat. Like what you said about like Virgil barely trying while Dante is like fucking like going in. Yeah, basically, yeah, he's fucking
smashed.
Destroyed.
Jeez.
Basically, right?
Well,
like I don't really know how to gauge like, how much more powerful Virgil is than that. Like that's something that I've always kind of had trouble with.
Sure, and I can understand that, but I know for a fact that the DT isn't a 2 times multiplier because in terms of sheer damage, at least as far as gameplay is concerned, it doesn't do 2 times in all the games. Like maybe in 1 it does, but in DMC3 it's kind of like a 50% increase or something. DT in 5 definitely doesn't do that much damage, and DT in 4 is like weirdly...
Excuse fucking you?
Yeah, with the distortion.
Okay, no. Distortion is something completely different.
Distortion is fair game?
The entire game.
Sounds good to me.
That's not even like a 2 times increase. That's like an 18 times increase because you hit like every frame. Every frame. Excalibur, if you don't know what we're referring to, I'm not sure. You seem kind of silent, so I'm
just kind of I'm listening in.
Well,
yeah, listen to us argue
in case you were unaware. If you are, then that's fine. But in case you're unaware, distortion is a mechanic, sort of, kind of. Well, it's a feature that existed in 3 that a lot of DMC players didn't know about, in which you could basically buff your damage equivalent to the amount of frames that you put into an attack if you DT'd the moment an attack frame came out. And then the developers figured out about this and was like, huh, that's interesting. Why don't we make that an actual mechanic in 4? Which was a terrible idea.
Fantastic idea.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it was basically a glitch that they liked.
Yeah. So in 4, it went from like, kind of doing some alright damage because real impact in 3 is very different from it is in 4 because that was the main movement it was used for so where you would hit an enemy and you would go into Rising Dragon, so you'd have to like button mash it, so it wasn't as busted. But 4 came along and removed that upward input, so you only were really using it for the normal real impact. So people would use this on certain bosses and would DT, and it would DT every frame, maxing the damage by like 5 to 6 times. In fact, just on that alone, because the distortion also works for Virgil, who has the Dragon Breaker that can be max concentrated and does, I think, 50% more damage than a normal real impact on like concentration, and then when you max the frames, he can literally one-shot the Savior on DMD, like in a single like.
Fucking hell, man!
Like, I'm pretty sure if you scale it upwards,
getting back up from that, man.
Yeah, no,
there ain't no revival ceremony for that.
He was sitting in there, was just like, I got the whole render. My Dante was like, why is he taking a stance? Oh no.
The way Mr. Mangler talks about DMC is the same way Meta Knight players talk about Brawl.
The way Meta Knight what?
The way
what is this?
You guys will, you guys will hear this in the fucking video. Fuck it.
Yeah, and it will mean so much.
Cut off the
hours
perfect
afterwards.
time for us.
I'm just here dropping comedy gold, and these people are unappreciative.
Yeah, Discord doesn't like you talking crap about Mangler,
so, Zim, do you want to talk about the blood, or?
Well, I mean, first let's see where we ended up here, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Okay.
That one's a bit of a can of worms.
So, since we kind of covered Sin DT and kind of found out that that's, like, still unknown to everybody, shame. So, let's kind of do a recap on positions here, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. I don't know how to do this.
Well, I think you would just go through whatever the points that you talked about and try to get
the...
Number 10.
No. No, not in that room. You take that voice, you get out of this call right now.
Okay.
No SMT Dante, though.
Okay, no, I mean, well, he does know SMT Dante, I think, but that's not canon to DMC yet. Okay, okay, so, Excalibur, where are we at here? Last thing I kind of confirmed...
Again,
oh, what?
Well, I got disconnected again, my bad. Sorry.
Okay, so last thing we kind of confirmed was sizes of the dimensions being, well, universal, or at the very least beyond planet level, and that it also meant dimensions, not just the planet as a whole, so we got that whole debacle cleared up.
Yep.
Do we still want to go on? Do you still want to talk about the human side of things, or is that kind of cleared up too? Like the whole.
That's pretty much cleared up.
All right. So now I would like to point out that we do hold Dante on this channel beyond Universal, and I don't.
Yeah. Like once again, like when I say Universal, I don't mean that like that's the only place I can put him at. I mean like that and above. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I just want to be clear there that like
a general sort of.
To be honest, I mean, you at least put DMC3 Dante above what the Versus Battle Wiki still like took forever to put, and subreddit, the official community that like if you go into their chats, they have chats for all DMC 1 through 3. They have mods. They conduct interviews with the actual people who do the game on occasion, and they even do like community like fundraising things with Capcom. And they still don't accept a planet level Dante.
Yeah, I already.
So actually, like, just
and then there's us.
Question here.
Yeah, we're just
curiosity question here. Where do you guys put DMC3 Dante?
DMC3. Okay, I was a little scared there.
DMC3, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so DMC3, Mangler puts him at supernova level or solar system level.
Hang on. Let me clarify.
Hang on, don't misrepresent me. I put him at solar system level.
Don't you go talking shit.
Well, I put basically Dante on feats that he demonstrates with Beowulf and Virgil. I put him at mission 13 onward to be solar system level.
See, so he prefaced it, but I was still right.
Because you have to be careful with your words.
Oh my god, we all know we're talking end of game here.
Wait, we all know what? You cut out again.
You'll find out later.
I'm not even lying. That's the best part.
I'll put you over in the corner over there until you can behave yourself.
This is my Discord, and I'll do what I like.
Literally.
Oh, dude, the disrespect you get from your own Discord, man, that's gotta be humiliating.
It's just me. Like, everyone else here is respectful, but I'm just like...
I love how he says everyone here is respectful. Like, everyone talks shit to each other all the fucking time. It's fun that way.
They're considerably more respectful than I am.
Yeah.
Well, at least they know Rom would beat Scourge.
Oh, you know what? Shut up. I don't care. I'm not upset.
Who would beat who now?
It's not Gears of War. It's a Gears of War thing. You wouldn't
Gears of
understand.
War. Yeah, I ain't gonna know anything about that shit.
Relax, Mangler. My brother's not here. It's all good.
That's good because like he wouldn't know how to enter a Discord if it killed him.
Okay. So going back to the things ahead, yeah. So Mangler has him at solar system level at the end.
Yeah, well, from mission 13 onward, because he demonstrates the ability to fight with Virgil, who easily killed Beowulf.
Yeah.
And again, it's not. It doesn't say. A lot of people say he's at star level. It's not as if it says he hits with the force of a star. He hits with the force of a supernova.
Yeah.
Which is what happens when a star grows to a red giant phase, which usually takes like.
And then blows up.
Yeah. Which can, I mean, I don't normally take supernova to mean like, oh, it did a supernova and then it collapsed into a black hole and did collateral damage. I don't.
Just the initial black hole.
Yeah, just
not the initial supernova.
Yeah. Well, if we were to assume then that like since the sun's rays, at least in terms of our solar system, can reach Earth very casually. I would imagine that the sun, given that it can hit most of the planets in terms of a set amount of light years, if it exploded spontaneously, would threaten at least half of our solar system. Especially given the range of its light. This is a small supernova, but again, this is just the AoE effect of one of the punches. And this is stacked on top of a Virgil, who is comparable to the Dante that fought that Beowulf.
And then you stack that on top of the fact that you can charge the moves.
And the fact that they have DTs. It's like, they're
they can stack
definitely
a lot of things on top of it.
Yeah, they
the solar system level is with DT or without DT?
It's without DT. You don't need to get to DT to do it because just a single punch would threaten.
No, I'm talking more about the like actual like scaling, not just
the scaling would be also without DT because Virgil, fights him without DT.
Though he also gets stronger by the end of the. Actually, wait, we haven't gone over blood. I mean, he gets stronger by the end of the game, but
he gets stronger by the end of the game. Absorbs demons, all that good shit. Fights Arkham, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
also handicaps himself in the last fight because Force Edge is better than the sword that can cut the fabric of reality. I'm salty about that. I'm sorry.
I mean, Force Edge can do projectiles. If fucking Arkham can do it in a fucking cutscene, then fucking Virgil can do it.
Wait.
Yeah, he's wide summon swords.
Okay, so not important. Yeah, so Mangler has him at solar system level. Past mission 13.
Yes, specifically. I don't know where he would be prior to that. Like, I guess you could say like large star level prior to DT being unlocked.
You can't scale him anywhere near prior to DT unlock. You can't scale him anywhere near. Because we just don't have anywhere near enough information to scale it.
We don't have,
Even the manga, where he shouldn't have DT, gives him DT.
It gives him DT because it exposes it to the blood.
Whoa.
Gives him a temporary DT that's not like a real DT. He's only temporarily...
Are you talking about that like that really like spooky one?
Yeah.
That's like hovering, like protecting a chick.
Yeah, that's the one.
The weird one that's
really
like,
cool.
hey, I'm in a life or death circumstance. JK, let me walk over here to the end and just kind of sit down. And I was just like, that's not a DT. That's not a DT at all.
You've been bamboozled.
I don't personally disagree with Mangler on the whole solar system thing, but I just kind of hold them at multi-star level. I hold them at a multi-star level in case I have to repeat that again.
What is multi-star level? Is that just like solar?
That's just more stars. More than one star.
Okay, a solar system is literally just a bunch of planets orbiting around a star.
Dante can take 50 star level attacks, but I'm not going to go the distance for solar system.
He can't take a solar system unless he blows up all of the space. Jesus.
No, I mean like Mangler's right with the scaling we have right now. I just kind of like multi-star. Multi-star sounds more impressive.
Shipmaster, what is mid-multiversal? I don't know what like mid-multiversal is.
I think it means you can just like low multiversal is you can like destroy like a low amounts.
It's up to 1,001, and then it's up to 1,000, and then multiversal is stated to be 1,001 to any finite number.
To clarify, Excalibur, we use the versus battle wikis tier. We use the versus.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I use that for my like scaling as well in terms of like the actual vernacular.
Yeah.
So wait, we've established that DMC1 Dante is at the end, or DMC3 Dante is solar system level. So this would make DMC1 Dante only about multi. But by the end of the game, he starts fighting a Mundus who casually creates a universe through sheer demonic power, and then proceeds to... Well, I don't want to say he breaks him, because technically Mundus does put up a fight. He hits him with like a couple meteors and some like red splinter demonic rods. But Dante...
If you want to go back to Kamiya real fast, Kamiya apparently confirmed that Dante was not stronger than Mundus in that final fight. That's why Mundus could like survive all those hits and shit, because Dante wasn't stronger than him.
Oof.
That's why it took Dante so long to drop him.
Kamiya
Really
said
now.
that Dante has infinite devil trigger.
No,
at the expense of his humanity.
Yeah, he could have infinite devil trigger if he gives up his humanity, but I don't know how valid that one is in particular. That seems like to affect the entire series, not just DMC1.
Yours an infinite DT?
Yours in cheat code?
Well, to be fair, there's no point in using a devil trigger if you give up your humanity. Devil. Like, you've triggered your devil indefinitely.
And, isn't it kind of a thing where it's Dante's humanity that kind of makes him stronger a little bit?
He's a hypocrite.
That's what he preaches anyway.
Yeah,
it might not be the literal thing.
He's a massive hypocrite. He says something to Urizen or to the effect of, you always wanted, like, power, but, power to protect what matters is what matters. I'm like, you scum? Like, the sword of your father...
Dante protects pizza.
Like, the power to protect what matters. Do you mean the fact that, like, your daddy just gave you a sword that made you, like, universal tears of bullshit? And then you were like, what? Virgil's sitting over here like Mike controls everything. That's not wrong. And Virgil's just like, source? Like, please?
You want swords, but
like, dude, you got stronger because I stabbed you to death with your own weapon. Like, what?
Don't act like humanity played any role in this.
I mean, yeah,
lady, if you count it.
I mean, yeah, but
after Virgil jammed the sword into his chest.
Yeah, but it wasn't like humanity in a symbolic sense only really gives you like a small buff. It's the blood that matters.
Okay, so
The tasty blood.
Yeah, no, DMC5 made blood like super. DMC5 made blood super fucking busted, and me and Mr. Mangler scaled it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so that's why he keeps mentioning blood, if you're wondering.
Yeah,
no, I get that.
Hold up, did
I don't know if you do.
raid
It's
the
so
blood
big.
banks yet?
What?
Wait, what?
Did Urizen ever raid the blood banks?
Urizen did not raid the blood banks. He should have. He would have beat Dante.
He would have been like,
yeah.
He would have been seen. If he had taken a blood bank, he would have beat Sin DT.
I mean,
if he would have taken a blood blank, he wouldn't have needed the fruit.
I'm just gonna say it now because I don't think Zima really nailed this point home because we haven't talked about blood, obviously.
Well, I'm
Wait, would you want to open the can of worms? Can I open the can of worms?
No. So first, let's establish where we're at regarding the power scaling for DMC with the Excalibur here, and then if you want to open the can of worms, I won't stop you. But let's try and get a consensus here. So we've established the scale is universal. We've established the feats and such of what was done and the goals and such. So. Is there enough evidence on the table there for you to say Universal DMC seems to be the more accurate scaling based on everything, or would you still need a little more?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, the proof is in the
pudding. Because I was about to slap you with the mirror world.
Whoa, hang on. What was that? Get that like accent out of your freaking.
You just like shoved your mic down your throat. What was
You
that?
talked about me being aggressive.
Like
calm down.
Dude, he just heard that he won and shoved his own dick into his mouth.
It's like, no, go away. Get back in the closet.
I mean, if you're that flexible, more power to you.
Fuck me, that was
So, would you like me to put in the giant essay that I wrote? Because I worked on this. I'm quite proud of it, even though it's see. Can I put it?
Oh, looks like Zim just died.
Oh, no, sorry. I felt like I could just
I
laugh
would
in the
love
background.
to see that essay.
Or I could give it to you, Zim, and then you could just post it in the chat. Or
I mean, Mr.
don't know.
Mangler, if you want to post your essay in the chat, you're more than welcome to. I did ask
I'm just
you.
trying.
Want me to grade it based on its?
No. Don't make it based on grammar. This guy can't do right.
Yeah. Z was an English major. He'd be offended by your by your lack of knowledge.
Okay, so
I don't know if I can fit it though. It did keep asking me multiple times that I was exceeding 2,000 characters, but that was like 3 or 4 instances, so it's probably closer to 10,000.
just copy half of it, paste it, and then copy the other half.
I don't. Well, let me see if I can just.
It's not that hard. If it's too big in one size, you slice it in half.
I know. This is not.
That's
tough.
what she said.
Shut up.
Okay. Yeah, no.
All right. We'll just go over it if I manage to put it in the.
Okay, so I'd like to clarify right now, we have been at this for 2 hours and 33 minutes.
Oh, wow.
You cut out again.
This has been going on for 2 hours and 33 minutes.
I wasn't even here for that long.
I know, we've been here way longer than you showed up.
I know.
I'm still recording.
Yeah, so
I mean, to be fair, Zim was playing League for a good 30 minutes.
I
of
did
the
not
first
record that portion.
True, very true.
Good 7-minute
I
video.
think I got it.
No, I was not playing leagues at all when we started recording.
What do you mean I need to make it 2,000 characters to be courteous to others? Fuck other people. I just want to put it in the mess.
Oh my god, come on.
That's the worst excuse.
They don't even have the balls to just be like, please limit it to it.
That's
so
why
they
this
can
thing's
handle
called
it.
Discord.
Yeah, no. So yeah, basically, where we hold DMC app for now is like the full end game series. If you're curious, is 2B, the 2A area. Yeah, because fucking Blood and Void Moon Disc really kind of just bump everything out of proportion.
Don't start reading anything because there's about to be 5 or 6 more of these. So if you start reading now,
Here, I'm gonna separate them actually. So I'm gonna click. Oh damn it! I was gonna separate.
yeah, you're gonna
them.
need to
start
separating. Really.
All right, so you go ahead and post your next one, then I'll separate it.
Well, that was actually 2.
just keep going.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, your grammar is garbage.
Jesus, it's...
What are these run-on sentences? A comma,
it's too late
by,
for me to be reading
another
this.
comma, another
You know
comma.
what? I was not an English
What
major.
is this?
You guys
Wow, you weren't kidding about him having like an
French
aneurysm.
English.
I'm gonna
This
have
is
to
embarrassing.
grab my reading glasses to tear apart this garbage.
Do wait, what's the last one that I put in?
Start.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's way too late to read this for me.
Mockmaker, go to the second one. He talks about Nightmare.
Oh, what?
He
Hold
talks about
up.
Nightmare in the second one. Go ahead there. Go,
Hang
go,
on,
go.
no,
I
there's
see
one
it,
other
I see it.
I will not restrict my thing to 2,000 characters.
Dude!
Stop telling me this.
You better be talking good about Nightmare Boy.
Oh my god. you don't even know.
No, you've been gone. Mockmaker, you've
Pretty
been
sure
gone
I
for
don't-
all the Nightmare things.
To be fair, I don't
Yeah.
really steal
I wonder
don't really
why.
steal Nightmare.
Mangler. So it's confirmed that the Visions of V will have another 12 Visions of V will have another 12 chapters.
Oh,
Nice.
sweet.
So I'm gonna do a
The info.
What could they possibly cover?
Yeah, next time, tell me when those show up.
hang on. What did Excalibur say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, it's cool that they're coming out with more, like,
I'm
Visions of V shit.
assuming they're going
Very
to
cool.
use Visions of V to talk about Nero's mom.
Ah.
I'm assuming that's why we're getting another 12 fucking chapters.
Zim, she's
You
a
mean, like,
prostitute.
all we know about her is a
She's
about her is that, like, one chick
She's a
that,
prostitute.
like, checked out his ass in
Shan-
DMC4, right?
Shin, I've read the Visions of Fortuna or fucking
She's not a prostitute.
It's
the
never
kids at the orphanage assume she's a prostitute.
Yeah, it's
That is-
never actually confirmed she was a prostitute. And also, given the way Fortuna is, it's most likely she's considered a prostitute because she slept outside of marriage.
That is Virgil's mother, or not Virgil's mother. That is Nero's mother we're talking about.
Well, hang on. We don't know her
Virgil's
relationship with Virgil. We don't know what went on in there.
No. I mean, this is the lady who can get Virgil's attention. All right, we should be showing her some fucking respect. That's like true.
I better see BDSM shit going on in Visions of V.
Oh yes!
I think
Calm
that's
down, Mockmaker.
everything. Hang on a minute. That's a lot. Jesus.
Yeah, you know what I want.
No, most of this doesn't even have to do with Nightmare. Get out of here.
So actually,
Nightmare's just...
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy all this shit down into a Google Doc, just so like I don't see all of this fucking.
Oh yeah,
bullshit.
that would help.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, I'll wait for you to do that, because this... I really should have put some paragraph breaks somewhere.
No. Why would you?
Look,
Why would you
I
indent?
didn't even have a proper Word document.
Why would you fucking indent?
I literally had to message this to my DMs to other people without actually messaging it.
Download Google Docs on your phone. It's free.
I'm going to end...
Dude, Google Docs is fucking uber tier, man.
Oh my god.
Actually, wait. I do this on Google. Wait, why didn't I just...
Yeah. Why the fuck didn't you just link the Google Doc?
Well, because like when I write essays...
enjoying your time
You,
here,
man.
Excalibur?
Damn you.
Look, it's fine. It's fine. Mangler doesn't know how to use Google Docs. It's fine.
No.
Wait, Mangler's what? You cut out again.
Typically, when I write essays, usually I just type them to my notes on my computer. Then I email that. I have my notes connected to my email, so then I just email that to myself, and then copy paste that onto like a Word document or some Google Docs.
I actually decided to check and see. You cannot tab on Discord. You cannot tab on Discord. I repeat, you cannot indent on Discord.
What do you mean you can't indent on Discord? What kind of
what does that
heresy is
mean?
this?
I'm testing to see if you can indent, and they won't let you indent.
This is already 4 fucking pages worth of shit.
How is writing?
That's the abridged version.
Yeah, that's also without like spaces. This is single space.
That's not including every little
No
detail.
title. There is no title.
I know, this is without a thesis. This is just the bodies and the conclusion. So like,
We
it's
should
actually,
set up a Dark Build thesis for this later.
yeah, I will. I'll try and rewrite certain portions.
You cannot tab on Discord. This is disgusting. Hey, get that shit out of there, Mockmaker team. Get that shit out of there. What the fuck was that? How fucking dare you?
Okay, so just let me know when you're ready to go.
Whoa, what you talking about? I don't
When
see
you're ready
anything.
to go.
I still need 2 more subscribers for 1,000.
Are we all ready to stop being morons and read what I wrote?
Mangler, I already know what the fuck you wrote.
I don't care what you know.
yeah,
Fuck
just
you.
I care what
Honestly,
he
I don't know if I'm willing to read it.
I'll read. I'll abbreviate most of it, but
Just sum up every paragraph if he like has trouble with it.
in 2 words.
And you get 1 sentence.
Oh.
Actually, can't you just
too long?
can't you just TLDR like every paragraph in like 2 sentences? I mean, I appreciate the work.
I promise I'll read the whole thing later.
Why would you?
I could read it. I could read it now. We could just go over and copy paste it. Hey, nobody talk in this voice chat text from like for the rest of the tonight. Just go to general. All right,
I
like that way.
swear,
It'll be...
English is the only language that has this TLDR bullshit. I
Okay,
swear it's the only language.
So-
you ever read Spanish?
Somewhat.
We can go over this.
Go ahead, Mangler. My apologies.
All right, so we're probably going to be here a while. So if you have any,
I'm just gonna go to general and make fun of him while he reads it.
Okay. So basically, Mundus has a feat. I mean, he has a feat where he performs a universe in DMC1, but that's not the main thing that gets him to low multiversal, because just making a universe only makes you universal. You have to affect like the 4th dimension and entire 4th dimensional construct, usually surpassing space and time on the 4th. There's a feat that he performs in which the mirror dimension, like a dimension that exists inside of his castle, wherein an item that you need access to get into his throne room, to the demon world, called the Philosopher's Stone, is located. And Dante uses a special item called the Elixir to go in there. And then when he goes in there, he finds out the Watcher of Time statue, also known as the Divinity statue that gives you items, which is the literal physical manifestation of the omniscient god of space and time that exists in DMC, does not exist in the mirror world, which is in Mundus's castle. The fact that the only item that he has to get into his throne room exists there, also with the nobodies, who are his demons, that have full power in this dimension. They're not restricted in any way, shape, or form, despite time being distorted. And Nello Angelo, his general, is at full power. So either A, you have to accept that he's completely ignoring a god of space and time, which would require him to have abilities that exist above that, or he created a space where that person's ability, where the god of space and time cannot exert their power. So, bare minimum, this person cannot interact with this dimension, and they're completely unable to exert their power in any way, shape, or form. So, that's just a small dimension. That's not even like the universe he makes. So, you could argue that the universe that he makes beyond that would be of a fourth dimensional quality, given that this is something much, much smaller, and he's still maintaining it while being statue Mundus, which is like the weakest version of Mundus outside of like the crawling one at the end of the game. This is enough just to make him 2C. But then beyond this, we have like in the anime, Dante's like first, I guess, official 2C feat outside of Mundus, where he fights Abigail, who's stated by Cid, who knew everything about the ritual to bring Abigail back. He knew the demons. He manipulated the main crew to kill specific demons to unrelease the seal, to release her, who was stated many times by several people, Lady and Cid, mainly Cid, to rival the Demon Kings. So she was comparable to Mundus and Argosax. Cid took her full power, and then Dante proceeded to beat her within an inch of her life with, like, you know, a small, like, demonic burst of power, but he basically kills her in base. I know someone said it was
like DT for like a second.
Yeah, it's not even, he doesn't even don the transformation, so it would be less than if he were actually going into DT. Because he's not even
seeing, like it looks like he's going into it. It cuts off as he goes into it, and
he just stops. He just stops, and then they die in a sword clash. Or well, they don't die. She dies.
DT, yes.
Even though it doesn't look like DT.
Eyes seem to like begin to form it.
Yeah.
Like he just did it off screen for the sake of mystery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then Argosax is stated in the history of DMC5. The history of DMC in DMC5 is available on the title screen. You review it. That he rivals the power of Mundus. So this would mean, bare minimum, most of the Demon Kings rival each other in power. Now this is just Argosax, as in Argosax the Chaos. This is not referred to as the Despaired Embodied, who is just Argosax when he evolves into like this embryoic like state, and then like spawns out his true form essentially.
So wait, I keep forgetting this. So the Despair Embodied is that?
Okay, so the Argosax the Chaos, if you play DMC2, is like the giant weird boss muck thing.
Okay, so like, Argosax is like the weird fusion monstrosity.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The Despair Embodied is the like angelic fire thing.
Yeah, the anthropomorphic like angelic. Yeah, that thing.
Okay.
So
didn't know.
Yeah, same year he destroyed. Well, actually, I can get Argosax is further down. So in the same year, as we said, the DMC2 not place. He fights Void Mundus, who is stated in the DMC novel, which I have on my computer, so I can link these if you're really curious. I'll just have to look for the exact chats. I also have it on my phone. Who's stated to be the soulless ruler of timeless creation and eternity. So he existed. Who
is this one more time? Is this
Void Mundus? This is Void Mundus.
Okay.
That exists. The alternate reality version of Mundus. So he would be comparable to normal Mundus, except that he has way better feats. See, Mundus in the original timeline required the Qlipoth to become the Emperor.
I'm gonna have to correct you there. He's basically fucking Mundus without the weaknesses that the original one had, like the hole in his chest. So he's basically a way better version of him.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like the hole in his chest wasn't like the thing that held that guy. It was plot-induced stupidity. I mean,
that was the whole reason why I put a barrier there to begin with.
Whatever. Void Mundus is completely superior for a variety of other reasons. Main reason being that he is never has any statements made to the effect of the Qlipoth, giving him power. And this is important given that it's an alternate reality.
Well, the Qlipoth wasn't a thing before then, so why would the DMC novel reference
Well, because the DMC5 confirms that Mundus needed the Qlipoth to, Trish confirms that Mundus needed the Qlipoth to become the Emperor of the Demon World. And the Qlipoth is stated to be the source of all life in the DMC universe. Okay,
so how does that mean... Okay, so you're saying that Void Mundus didn't need the fruit?
No, he did not need a fruit, meaning this fruit didn't exist. Either this fruit didn't exist, or it did and he chose not to use it. But that would also be weird for it to exist at all, because he's stated to be the sole ruler of creation. Meaning he ruled over, all of creation. And I thought this was kind of weird, because again, I was trying to establish a timeline for the alternate universe. But what's weird is that Sparta in this timeline, there's no 2,000-year time skip. He's completely betrayed by the humans during, what their equivalent of his rebellion is. And he's poisoned and then delivered to Mundus, and Mundus kills him.
So basically he's plot-induced stupidity.
Okay, yeah. They gave all Mundus' plot-induced stupidity or something. Or just made the humans betray him. Ava weirdly is stated to be on par with Sparta for some reason. I just don't touch that because that statement.
Effectively, fuck the DMC2 novel. It fucks everyone over.
No, literally,
it actually makes sense when you realize QDA is all powerful.
I swear to God, you bring that up one more time.
QDA is what?
Well, see, the reason why DMC5 happens is because Urizen needs an excuse to get the fuck away from Kyrie. He knows Kyrie, when she comes out of the kitchen with that frying pan, is gonna blitz his ass out of the Qlipoth, and he's so scared. He's like, no, I gotta make it look like I'm killing everybody in Redgrave.
Gotta appease the gods.
Anyway, memes aside, so he's the soulless ruler of timeless creation and eternity. Meaning he's completely unaffected by this because he created everything, including the concepts of space and time in this universe. And he's unaffected by
in this timeline, he is a creator.
Yeah, he is a creator, as opposed to in the other timeline where he wasn't a creator.
He's just a demon.
He's just a demon who got lucky with the... Oh, I'm now the boy.
He's just a guy who decided to take an apple a day keeps a doctor away on a whole new level.
Yeah. We don't really know the details of how he got the Qlipoth. We know that he got it. He became the emperor, and that was it. And then Sparta bodies his ass. What's curious though in the alternate timeline that lends a lot more credence to this is that we don't have a 2,000-year time skip that's established. Because DMC alternate timeline Dante actually sides with Mundus, and Virgil is not even referred to as Virgil. He's referred to as Nello Angelo, who takes Shadow, Griffin, I believe, Frost, and Blade and Phantom, basically Mundus's generals, and goes traitor, and basically lends them in a battle against Mundus's forces. But Dante essentially goes into this weird iteration of the demon world. He fights
This is because of the beast heads, right?
Yes, so when he's fighting Dumas with the Beast Heads, who's been taken over by them completely, he gets sent into their timeline, where the alternate reality is, then meets up with the Traitor Generals, formulates a plan to attack the palace. They defeat alternate reality Trish, and then they go to the palace, where it is basically just an empty, it's like a complete void of darkness, and Mundus is that embodiment of the void.
And because like Dante starts like slashing his shit and realizes, oh, this void is Mundus.
Yes.
If I slash at this, I hit him, basically.
Also, based on the fact that he created the Beast Heads, this Mundus would also be completely omniscient. So he can see the past, present, and future simultaneously, and he's also all-seeing and all-knowing. And Dante completely ignores this and just kills him in like a couple bullets and some stabs. Like he kills him in like okay, he didn't one-shot him, but he did toy around for a little bit.
Quick off-surface question. Dante does like create bullets for his guns, and that's why he doesn't need to reload, right?
We don't.
Yes. While it's not officially confirmed in the game itself, off-brand media from Capcom does confirm it's infinite ammo. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite confirms he has infinite ammo in his pistols. So.
Oh my god.
I mean,
using
as long as there's something that says it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The general consensus is he creates the bullets.
It's better than no evidence, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Some people in the subreddit tried to convince me that he was magically generating because DMC2 states that his guns use magic bullets.
That's good. Good enough. Good enough.
But like in none of the other games is this the case because it just says like the descriptions are like rapid.
No one fucking cares.
I mean, he even has bullets in his guns in the anime.
We don't need to make another essay about this.
Yeah, continue further.
All right. So
I'm gonna rag on you, Mangler. Go ahead.
He beats this Mundus. Then he goes into the DMC2. This is really the only thing for this because Chen, while he does have the power of like Sparta and like the DNA of Sparta, his feats aren't really impressive because he technically like lures Dante into a trap and sucks out most of his demonic. If you wanted to scale Dante and suggest that he's like what things he's immune or resistance to, this chapter is relevant, but not in the context of putting him in a specific team. Just for ability.
What does he have like immunity and resistance?
So he's completely resistant to fate manipulation by virtue of the fact that he can ignore you seeing all futures, past, and realities. Because like Chen has absorbed the power of the Beast Head. Just like he's beyond. He doesn't even have concepts of space and time, and he knows everything. And Dante, in a weakened
Dante still kicked his ass.
Yeah. Dante completely ignores the attacks that he knows. He knows where Dante's going to be, and Dante just ignores the positions where he's throwing his attacks in a weakened state. So, even if you wanted to say he wasn't completely immune, extremely resistant to the point where you basically don't have the ability. I mean, it doesn't make a difference.
I mean, you can also argue immunity to fate manipulation or fate by the dice.
Well, I said,
he already has that in DMC4.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that this would establish that he has fate manipulation a little earlier because your fate is being determined by the fact that someone knows what your future is. And they're acting on that information. And he's completely ignoring that.
That makes him more immune to clairvoyance, doesn't it?
Well,
I mean,
that...
make him immune to precognition. More
and the Beast Heads can also warp reality.
Yeah,
so you can warp entire timelines into being what you wanted.
It also has battlefield removal.
What are these memes in general? Stupid stuff?
My memes. Yes, I thought it was appropriate.
Alright, whatever.
Oh,
you know what?
Excaliber moved from music to video? Oh.
Excaliber was like, I can't be here anymore. Fuck this.
Come on, look.
Sorry about that. I just accidentally clicked on the music thing.
The memes are right. The memes are good.
So then, after he kills this Void Mundus basically effortlessly, negative difficulty, 2 weeks later, he then proceeds to one-shot Argosax, after he beats Argosax, it transforms into the Despairing Body, and he one-shots that being. I mean, technically he stabs him with a light stab, but then he just blows his head off with a single bullet. This would infer that if all of this is being done the same year, the scaling is consistent. Not that you really need more than one, because a 6-year time skip implies growth, because he wouldn't be in his prime, given that he's like, in his early 30s at this time. So, still getting older. Did you have something to say?
Double though.
Wait, what?
You're saying like he's still getting older, and I'm like, that's sexy stubble though.
Well, we don't talk about the stubble because I don't like it, and it triggers me. So these are all being done within about 6 years of each other, and I've suggested that even before the blood, I was arguing to be Dante before the blood, because even if you said he was only getting several times stronger every time skip, which is a little weird to suggest, because he goes from being solar system level to low multiversal in 2, if you assume he's not at 2B yet, which is a qualitative jump that he's doing quantitatively in a measure of
years. That's a pretty big jump.
Like, that's 6 years with a jump that you literally cannot... You have to bypass infinite 3 dimensions. And he just does it in 6 years. This is also... I don't know if I've mentioned this in my things. I do have basically a paragraph dedicated to it, where I demonstrate that Dante, during the events of the anime, is going bankrupt. He's going into debt because he doesn't spend enough time doing his job, because he only spends 1 day a week doing his job. He eats nothing but pizza and strawberry sundae, and he doesn't even demonstrate that he needs to eat them because it's, like, necessary for him, because he doesn't have enough money to... Yeah, just because he likes it. And when he's not doing that, he's maybe, like, taking a nap just to pass the time, playing some pool, or watching, or, like, reading some magazines. He's basically just sitting on his ass the entire game, and by 1, he's already showing that he's going to go into debt, because he has a policy where his business closes at 9 p.m., and any of the calls that are taken from the outside are done with passwords only. So you basically have to walk to his shop, meaning it's more local than it is outsourced, and even then it only stays open until 9. Only available.
Dante's just a shit businessman.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, so many people with the password. No wonder I can't get any business. And I'm like, no shit. If you want that, it does explain it in the opening cutscene of DMC1. So on 6 years of basically doing nothing, he surpasses the 4th dimension by just existing, and arguably getting, like, lazy. But,
Power of humanity, man.
Yeah, I'll give the explanation for why that is. But even on that, you could argue, without blood, you could, based on that feat alone, that with another 4-year time skip between 2 and 4, where he's actually fighting demons, because he's trapped in the underworld, that he would be 2B, because he made it to low multiversal in 6 years, and that's a quantitative jump. So even if it was additive, he'd still at least be doubling where he is. And then by 5, where he gets multiple exponential boosts, he'd be multiversal, because you only have to demonstrate you're 1,001 universes below multiversal, assuming you can only destroy 1. It's not really that high, but... Now we get to Mockmaker's point, because he wanted to talk about Nightmare. In the Visions of V manga, V says, when he acquires Nightmare, that Nightmare is strong enough to kill Urizen, which is kind of weird, because we thought, like, blood Urizen. But then we confirmed this is prior to DMC5, and we confirm for a fact, based on statements from before, what is it?
Before
I believe
Nightmare?
Before the Nightmare. That there's a scan that shows that it's 2 days that the Qliphoth root is out, and he has not snatched anyone in Redgrave City yet, meaning he has not acquired basically any of their blood, though he has blood in the Qliphoth, so he must have gotten it either from some stragglers or someone from a different area. Either way, he snatched so few that the city of Redgrave has no idea what's going on, And this is a city that is also being shown to be it's a direct equivalent of London. It's meant to be the DMC equivalent of London. So there's around 9 million people living there. So the fact that they don't know about anyone disappearing when a giant ash tree came out of the ground for like 2 days is a mystery in and of itself. But
I feel like if it is supposed to be London, then just a couple people getting missing reports, I would say that's probably pretty common.
Well, either way,
to some extent.
Either way, this couldn't be the Urizen that he's talking about, the one in the Qliphoth, because that event is 1 month before the events of the game, but it hasn't been 1 month in the Visions of V, because V barely got the nightmares and hasn't shown up to Dante to give him the job request yet. It also hasn't, since it hasn't been 1 month, he only acquires, the Yamato from Nero, immediately, and then he goes to his house to split his soul in half. And then a month later...
Like a fresh out of the Yamato Urizen, pretty much.
Yeah, he's fresh out of Yamato, and he confirms that, this nightmare, if I could sustain him longer, because it uses so much demonic power, my body just collapses. If I could sustain him longer, I could kill him. And Nightmare, Shadow, and Griffin are all discarded thoughts of Nello Angelo. They're literally physical manifestations he presumes they are, or what he remembered them to be during that time. So they would be comparable to that based on his impressions. They wouldn't be anything stronger than what he remembers, especially considering some of them are smaller. And based on what I've found in Visions of V and in for the Nightmares summary, Mundus claims in a non-fully revived state, because it's in between 3 and 1, the 9 years in between 3 and 1, he claims that this nightmare in an unsealed state would wreak havoc on the demon world. So the fact, and it was also stated he was afraid of it. He was actually fearful and afraid of Nightmare. So he sealed his power, and in the panel you are shown that it looks exactly like the DMC1 Nightmare. It's literally the chained module, the weird transforming...
As muck with armor.
Yeah, there's a gun in... Looks exactly it's a different version of Nightmare, but that's exactly what... He steals that version, so there's no reason for me to believe, since Mundus never showed the unsealed version, that Nello Angelo would have an impression of a stronger version of Nello, because none of us ever saw an unsealed Nightmare. So this would have to be the weaker version. If this is the case, that Nightmare, who was bodied by Dante 3 times in the story, is stronger than Urizen, meaning Urizen, prior to getting the blood, is weaker than DMC1 Dante. He is weaker than Mundus. He is weaker than everyone prior to the end of DMC1, and probably most of the characters in DMC1.
That makes sense, considering only alive back in DMC3, so he would have to get a lot to get back up to that scale. I think. Anyway.
One second, hang on. Did you just say that you think Urizen is weaker than DMC1 characters?
Shout out of the Yamato. Yeah.
Did you say anything?
End of DMC5.
Mm. Well,
what is that sound you're making? It sounds like disappointment. I thought it was doing a good job.
Okay, regarding Urizen fresh out of the Yamato, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, there's already a problem with your reasoning, because if what you're saying is true, and Nello Angelo never encountered the unsealed Nightmare, Griffin wouldn't be able to tell him the story of Nightmare's birth. So Nello Angelo had to have witnessed.
No.
Since considering he was one of Mundus's dudes.
No, because we don't have any reason to believe that. We don't have any statements as to when Griffin was made.
Griffin was around during Sparta's time.
Well,
Griffin was in the war against Sparta. That's confirmed in DMC1.
Recognized Dante with Sparta's energy.
Yeah, he knew Sparta.
This is irrelevant, though.
Well, what I'm pointing out is Virgil's memories or Virgil's traumas can't tell Virgil's story he doesn't know. They can't show him something he's never seen.
What are you talking about?
What I'm saying is
how powerful he is. He demonstrates these abilities in DMC3, and that was without being directly controlled by Mundus.
I'm referring to Nightmare right now, and Urizen by extension. I'm referring more to Nightmare right now.
Yeah.
Nightmare, the unsealed Nightmare V has would not be weaker than the DMC1 version, or anyone on DMC1 for that matter.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm arguing. I wouldn't even be arguing that it's a sealed or an unsealed. It's a completely different version of Nightmare that would be representative of the Nightmare Nello Angelo remembered, which he has no reason to remember the sealed version because it was never seen. It was as soon as Mundus created it, he sealed it immediately. We're shown this in the manga panel.
Yes,
I see.
Like he throws out the demonic jelly bean and is like, "Hey, chains."
Yes, but V has that memory, or more specifically, Griffin has that memory. So Nello Angelo Virgil or Nello Angelo either had to have witnessed Nightmare's birth, or would have had to been told how powerful Nightmare was originally in order for this to make sense. Because you can't tell yourself a story you never heard, or a story you've never seen.
Oh, I see.
They're all just in the break room telling stories about what their boss.
Well, either way,
that dude, he created this like.
Either way, at best, if you're going to argue, he can wreak havoc on the demon world, and he'd be stronger than DMC1 Dante, but he'd still be weaker than fully revived Mundus, because fully revived Mundus never shows this deference and is way stronger than Universal and way stronger than the existence of the demon world.
I meing, I'm just currently here saying on a high 3A, low 2C Nightmare, so, take a look at that one.
Point is, I was going to tie this together with the fact that, like, Mundus also states in the Before the Nightmare summary in Trish's first chapter, that a fully conditioned Virgil in DMC3 would have killed him, or at least would have defeated him. And he doesn't say DT Virgil, he just says fully conditioned Virgil, so you could argue base Virgil. Meaning, base Dante in DMC3 could have also beaten Mundus, based on these statements. Non-fully revived Mundus, of course. Always important to clarify that. We don't get too cocky with this. So basically, just try to imagine that. Well, actually, here was my thing about the. I don't know why I put this all the way down here. So, given that human blood was stated to be the source of demonic power in DMC, and we looked up, we were wondering, like, if this is really the case for why he does this insane power jump from solar system level to low multi. So we looked up, like, the average amounts of, like, human blood, gallons of blood, how much blood is produced in a year. Turns out it's about 6 ounces a year for the average human body, 1.5 gallons of blood for most human males. And Dante's half human, so he'd probably only be producing about half that much, at about 3 ounces. And then he doesn't bleed out.
That's true.
Yeah, he doesn't bleed out at all. And this is why it's important now to remember, when you see Dante in a cutscene where he's bleeding, as soon as he recovers from that cutscene, he should be way stronger. Because as soon as he bleeds, his body has to pump blood from his heart to make up the difference of those bodies that he lost in terms of blood. Not to mention, when he's fighting seriously, his muscles are moving more, so his heart is pumping more blood to the rest of his body.
Every time Dante gets injured, he gets a fucking...
Yeah, he gets
out the wazoo.
Oh, but like this is like a Zenka boost squaring another Zenka boost. Because, like, at least the Zenka boost...
It's like a broken Zenkai boost.
Well, like, the
Zenkai boost... like, you need to be near death. Dante just, like, gets a scrape.
Oh, it's not just that. It's, like, the Zenka boost, even in the context of, like, the Namek saga, where, like, you could literally measure them because they had power levels, right? Like, you could say they were only, like, 50% or maybe, like, double the times. No. These are, like... these are like at bare minimum tens of times greater, hundreds of times greater. And this is just if he like bleeds out a little. This is not if he's given like pure unfiltered human blood and like body matter. If he's given that, it's like it should be way higher than that. Because again, he only, based on the ounces of blood that we can grant, because 3 times like what was it? 3 times like 5 to 6, and then he starts to bleed out in the anime because Abigail stabs him multiple times, stabbed by Rebellion. I put it up to about 7.5 ounces, and I did say you could add like a couple more gallons for that. Technically, maybe a little bit more for Chen, but at best, that's like maybe 12 to 13 ounces over 6 years. It takes him 12 to 13, or not 12 to 13 ounces. 12. Well, not 12 to 13 ounces. About 5-ish gallons of blood at best. That's like the best you can go. Takes him 5 gallons of blood to go solar system level to beyond the 4th dimension and surpassing an infinite 3-dimensional universe. Then it's important to consider that there's another 4-year time skip where he's fighting demons non-stop, so constantly getting that blood pumping. And then in 5, I'll go over 5 in a minute. I would argue, based on this, then, that blood in the possession of demons, as I've wrote out, has a higher dimensional potential because you can surpass qualitative barriers with quantitative amounts. Like, it must be a higher dimensional capacity. Zim has even suggested it's possible demons might be 4th dimensional. I'm starting to wonder that myself.
It's like fodder demons you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, usually in their pure form. So not the demons that you see through most of the games. Mainly demons in DMC5, because the demons in DMC5 are way stronger than any of the demons we see in the previous games, because all the demons in the previous games require a medium or some form of like catalyst or something that they need to project their consciousness into to exist in the world. So the prides, for example,
these demons don't.
Yeah. The sins in DMC3, for example, they use sand. Or one of them, I think the greed uses water.
Yeah.
And they form it into a body when they like pass over that dimension in the world. That's why Lady can hurt them with like bullets. But then we see in 5, we see like full SWAT teams just emptying like machine gun bullets into these like the weakest demons in the game that are presented. And it's doing nothing.
Fucking like butt-faced mantis or whatever the fuck that is.
To clarify, one of the demons does go down after he
gets knocked back and then he gets up.
Oh, does he get up?
He does get up. He gets knocked back, so they did feel it a little bit. Crew cut over here is losing all his boys. Crew cut's bullets weren't enough, so it does nothing. And with the fact that the Qliphotth is now directly, like it's literally coming out of the dimension of the demon world into the human world, there's a direct portal in between. The demons don't need a medium anymore. They can just cross over. They can just exist in their purest form. This is also confirmed if you're interested in the before the nightmare summary. It actually goes over a lot of like based on like demons interactions. It says in like port cities like Dumeri Island and Fortuna City, they're more likely to see these holes where demons show up because, well, actually, I don't think it really elaborates. It just says they're more likely to see them. And the bigger the hole, the easier it is for them to get through, and the less power they have to exert, and the higher likelihood that they can come forth in their normal form. Stronger than average demons who aren't fodder, like, Kings of Hell, certain gatekeepers. Basically, all the boss demons of the game don't need mediums. They just exist. They're strong enough to where they could just fly into the human world, and they're doing just fine. So then I decided, well, it's time to decide like how strong Urizen is. Now we put them all at DMC1. Now remember, this is done. These measurements are done so this lowball is done in such a manner that I am assuming Mundus can only create 3 universes. That's the claim. He can only make 3 universes in DMC1 that is the full capacity, which technically I realize I probably should have made it a little bit higher because Dante for the entirety of the battle at 66%, because that universe was created from sheer demonic power. Dante goes from that in terms of measurements to DMC2 and low multiversal. This is calculated using the total amount of solar systems that go into a galaxy, then multiplying that times the total amount of galaxies that go into a universe. Under the presumption that it's only triple times, and it's around 60 to 100 sextillions times increase. So it would probably be whatever the next number after the next two terms after sextillion, I believe, is where he would be. It's like it's so much higher than what I granted, but that was based off of, again, a couple. He made that increase, a sextillions times increase, many sextillions times increase, based off of a couple gallons of blood, and just existing for 6 years. Now, Urizen takes enough blood in 2 days to then proceed to body a DMC5 Dante who had a 4-year time skip with fighting demons in the demon world. After
It
this
just got like 1 inch punched, effectively.
Yeah, and got 1 inch punched from a Dante who was like exponentially upon exponentially upon exponentially more powerful than DMC2 Dante. And he was only out there with the Qlipoth for 2 days, and he hadn't started stabbing people with the Qlipoth roots because they only show up when V and Nero break out of the Qlipoth. So, if we then assume, again, most of the blood that he takes from there is going to the Qlipoth tree because it has to pump the fruit. Wait, who is adding me? Who's adding this?
Oh, septillion comes after sextillion, with octillion,
With octillion.
coming after septillion.
Well, there's a likelihood it's high up. What is going on with this chat?
Oh, don't worry about that.
Okay, no, I won't worry about that then. So, where was I? Oh, yes. So Dante gets punched by Urizen once, and then he goes and attacks his barrier, then gets knocked unconscious for an entire month. The DMC5 art book confirms that he's fed blood by the Qlipoth for a full month because the Qlipoth assumes he's Urizen. It thinks he's Urizen because it mistakes him because they have similar blood. They both have blood of the
And this is when he's like passed out in that like one chair, right?
He's like in a coma or something, like a temporary coma. So it would have to be giving him comparable amounts of blood, given that it mistakes him for Urizen. Even so, Urizen is objectively stronger than him at this point because he was at least plugged into the Qlipoth for another 2 days. And he was already so strong, he surpassed that incredible leap in terms of like power. And then he was getting blood on top of it and completely conscious. And then this Dante then proceeds to get up, proceeds on to mission 12-ish, takes the Sparta sword, and then stabs himself with Rebellion, again bleeding more, fuses it with the Sparta sword, and if you're curious about whether or not this is an additive, remember, the Sparta sword was barely enough to fight...
As to whether or not this is what?
As to whether or not you're curious about whether it... If you're curious about whether or not it's additive, meaning you can just add it to one another, the Sparta sword was enough to take on Mundus, who at this point is like based on DMC2, a stronger Argosax, a stronger Void Mundus. Both of them basically got one shot with no difficulty, negative difficulty, I would say. So Mundus at this point is nothing. He's basically nothing. Like he wouldn't even be like one. He wouldn't even be like 0.0000% of these people. So if you were to say that it were additive, this would make no sense because it would be a broken rebellion, like literally a shattered rebellion, with like a Sparta sword giving him an unquantifiable Sin DT that allows him to then body Mission 12 Urizen with all of that blood from the Qlipoth, which would then make absolutely no sense. Oh boy, what is this? Shin, what are you doing?
Oh, I think
Later.
you're just pointing out all the numbers that go on beyond.
Lovely.
Alright.
Quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion, septillion,
Hey,
octillion.
check that out. Vingentillion. That's where Virgil's at.
Like, what are you receiving vengeance?
That's Virgil's number.
Wait, what are these?
It's the Vinjin Chad meme.
What's the 248, 279? Where's that coming from exactly?
Okay, so the first one, that's the number that follows. Okay,
What
don't worry about that for now. Continue.
Yeah, I was just like, there are not 155 zeros under quadrillion.
You're almost done. Come on.
Yeah, I'm almost done. Okay, so basically on this we can conclude that blood. Well, actually, I'm still not finished because DMC5 Dante's base increase is comparable to that Sin DT change because he then proceeds to fight this Urizen in Mission 12 and fights a stronger Urizen that gets the Clyfoth blood. He would be getting most of the blood that he got with the small amount he was able to one-shot again exponential upon exponential upon exponential boosts. So the Clyfoth root had so much blood in it, it was dwarfing all of that to the point where I'm literally unsure if I can actually quantify how much that is. And he was still stronger than that Urizen. Then, after he recovered from that fight, he proceeded to fight a stronger Virgil, who then had his humanity back and would have all of his pre-existing knowledge of his techniques because he fought him most of his life. And then they slashed each other multiple times because, again, they're comparable equals to one another. They both had Sin DTs, just like in their previous fights. So they'd be bleeding multiple times. They'd be dropping multiple bodies of blood, getting boosts. Then Virgil fights Nero. Then after he's finished fighting Nero, he goes into the demon world and he fights Dante with fencing rules under the presumption that if either one of them takes a hit, when their swords get hit and they take a knee, they're done. Like, they lose a point. The other person, they concede the round to their opponent. So they're fighting without the intent to get hit, meaning they'd be trying even harder than they normally would. Several times, in fact, because they'd be way more precise. And they've been fighting each other for 2 weeks. So, based on this, blood is very overpowered. I can't even quantify the sheer amount of blood. I think after 4's time skip, but if I said this, then this means that Dante, killing Argosax, even on the low ball would be 2B, because he'd be way above that capacity in terms of just sheer power. It'd be a several times increase. Upon several times. Even if you didn't want to say blood existed there, he'd still be 2B by the end of DMC5. He'd just be barely 2B. Or in this case, he's so high in 2B category, I don't even know if all these numbers will cut it. I hope they do. But yeah, that was my full explanation. That's what I was typing out before I came into this call.
I'm so glad I recorded this.
Good
I
job,
know. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Good work, Mangler. Good work.
Oh, you don't even know what I had to put myself through. I had to put this message in 5 different DMs. Actually, not even 5.
And so what did the people tell you?
No.
You deserve a B.
I sent it to people. I didn't send it to them. When you DM someone, but you don't you're typing in the chat, but you don't send the message.
Yeah.
You just yeah. So I just did that, and I just did it 10 times to a bunch of people who were offline. And I did it to chats where I normally talk DMC. So I was just all right, I gotta compartmentalize this. Fuck, now it's out of order. Now I have to reconnect and message it. And most of them were 2,000 characters long or otherwise. So, oh Jesus, that was.
Well, that's all of it in a nutshell, more or less.
We have more, but
take it easy, Mangler. We've shown the boy enough today.
He's can I go home now?
It's already 4 pages.
Go home to my juice box.
No reason to throw in the mirror world or anything like that.
I just want to sleep.
Yeah,
throw in the mirror world.
So that's why DMC is 2B on our channel, potentially 2A if you want to think Void Mundus is like fully beyond the concept of space and time.
How about we cover SMT?
No, we don't need SMT right now.
We don't need to cover SMT.
Also, SMT's another can of worms.
Actually, I'm supposed to cover that.
I mean, if you want to put the evidence there, you can put the evidence there, because SMT is not too hard to explain. It's just basically Dante scales to other people who are 2A.
It's explaining the SMT side of things, which is not in my category yet.
Well,
because you have to literally explain why demons of Shin Megami Tensei are beyond like linear time, which is like what 4D shit. So basically, you don't perceive time because you were literally created beyond it or some shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
So.
And Dante can one-shot these characters with literally no fucking effort in his base form without trying. Yeah, this is a fucking.
Yeah,
so it's consistent with what he does to the other demons in DMC2. I mean, considering what I did with like what I found in the power scaling with this verse, just by getting my hands on the novel.
I mean,
I can only wonder what a composite Dante would look like if I got my hands on SMT.
Technically, the SMT creators specified they didn't want to put people in their universe who wouldn't be powerful enough to survive in it. So by putting Dante in by virtue, by the events of DMC2, they already assumed Dante was SMT level.
Jesus.
So they like kind of.
You know they put Neural in too, right? So Neural.
But that's DMC5, or that's DMC5. That was a promotion for a gacha. That was a strictly money grabbing scheme there. This is a PS2 game that was an actual game.
I mean, even then, Neural would still be 2A and like immeasurable in SMT standards.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I mean, there is that. So author intent has always put Dante as super powerful.
Crazy Diamond is saying he feels like his bat signal was called into the sky.
Yeah, I saw that. Because even if you go off like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the actual game says that their only chance against beyond universal level threats would be Dante.
Dante's just like, hey, Judah.
Doesn't he like,
fuck off.
like from the Soulstone or some shit?
Dante in fucking Marvel vs. Capcom
decent feat.
Infinite basically, I mean, he basically literally stomped Jeddah in his...
Yeah, so Dante...
That's Devil Dookie on Jeddah.
Yeah.
Yes, he literally shit on Jeddah with his soul. Well,
that's also DMC3 Dante that they're using.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's strong enough to do that, wouldn't he be comparable to, like, freaking... Like, wasn't he a threat to Thanos?
He was
like... Okay, no. So, in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Dante's one of the only characters who doesn't take Thanos seriously. And if you look at the lore...
To be honest, like, Dante doesn't really take a lot of characters seriously. The only characters he really taken seriously seem to be Mundus and Virgil, from what I've seen.
He does take Ultron Sigma seriously.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in terms of, like, the main character.
But based on the lore of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that what it adds... It seems to imply that Dante seems to be the most powerful person on the roster, let alone the planet, from what that implies. Because he's apparently their best bet against other threats outside of, like, everything, so to speak.
Chaos, yours in his Virgil in the sky.
It's just so funny how Dante literally got one-shotted by Jeddah in his base form, but he just completely smacks him with double trigger.
Yeah,
like, the boost is ridiculous.
It also... What?
So that would mean that DT in Infinite is like way stronger than DT in the main games.
Okay, so according to the game, it says that Jeddah with an Infinity Stone would have unimaginable power, and DT surpasses that. So let that one.
I would like to point out that even though I said DC and DMC 3, by the time he uses it would be a several times increase. Based on that cutscene. It's also important to remember DT is, along with all of Dante's abilities, are scaled directly from demonic. So the more demonic power he has, the more all of his abilities that use demonic power.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stronger. So the DT would be getting stronger from game to game to game.
Disconnected. There we go.
The DT would be getting stronger from game to game to game because just his body being transformed into a devil with just sheer power overflowing it.
Didn't Capcom say that Dante was literally one of the characters they made too fucking strong?
I don't know if they said that, but I have heard that Dante was one of Capcom's strongest characters.
I mean,
I haven't seen anything stronger from the main series of Capcom, so I'm not sure if there's anyone actually stronger than Dante in Capcom's universe.
I mean, at best in Capcom's universe, you're gonna get, from Strong's perspective, you're probably gonna get fucking not Dark Souls, what the fuck, Darkside, not Darkside.
Darkstalkers.
Why am I saying Darkside?
There's what is it?
I think the best you'll get from Capcom is like Ashura playing second.
What about Amaterasu?
I don't know too much about Amaterasu's power scaling per se, but that's a can of worms separate for a different video.
Yeah.
We're already 3 hours into this.
I'm literally just listing people I know from the Marvel Capcom, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom roster.
We can talk about this later. So that's kind of
that's
in a nutshell for now. There were a few things we left out. What?
Have you had the debate with the person yet?
Yeah, he's right there. Thank you. Yeah, we're done by now.
He exists beyond your perception.
The Arisen from Dragon's Dogma is the strongest since he is a definitive 2A.
I mean, I could argue Dante to being higher dimensions because he surpassed the 4th dimension in a quantitative measure, but you know.
Yeah, we get
Versus Battle is like, hey, you need to be stated to be 5th dimensional.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, if we take blood transfusion to its ultimate, or to like its fullest potential, technically Dante could be like 1C to 1B, because eventually he'd reach that blood level if he hasn't already.
I mean, the blood would have to hit that level.
He'd be 6th dimensional by the time 5 starts, because there's two separate time skips.
You would have to tell Neo that.
Honestly, if we were to assume every like 4 to 5 years is another dimensional break, Dante would probably be like beyond 12th dimensional at the end of DMC5.
We did tell Neo, but Neo like.
I mean, we did tell Neo it to a degree, but the fact of the matter is what we're proposing is a massive thing to prove.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Scott.
Like a little off topic here. I was actually like curious whether or not like Ashura's Wrath could beat Dante, so I looked on the Versus Battle wiki to what Chakravartin has. They have him at multi-solar system level. What the fuck?
I hate the way Chakravartin is scaled on Versus Battle.
I'm gonna play Dev. I do that now with my group. So
like literally stated to be the god of creation, isn't he?
Your subscribers and your debaters.
So what they did is they.
He even states in game to have created multiple universes beforehand.
Okay. So what they did specifically is Matthew Strodinger, an old name on the channel, downgraded Asura's Wrath by bringing up the guidebook, saying that he was only affecting a galaxy according to the guidebook.
Come on, man.
They ignore all of the afterlife.
In-game statement like goes over like guidebook. I think at least.
I mean, the guidebook doesn't say he's only doing that. It's just saying like when Asura's flying towards him, he's on top of the Milky Way. That's what it specifically says.
Oh, come on.
So
that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, so technically he would be galaxy level, but because it takes a while, they put him at multi-solar system. Oh, and regarding whether or not Asura could beat Dante, I did do that versus matchup a long time ago, but that was with 2C, Devil May Cry, and 2C Asura's Wrath. Asura could technically get strong enough to beat Dante eventually. It's just very
through how his wrath works.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't even beat Chakravartin fairly. He absorbs Chakravartin's chakra to beat Chakravartin.
So it's technically not even valid?
Yeah, so basically, Chakravartin is the source of all chakra. When Asura gets stronger, technically that's taking away chakra from Chakravartin.
Like, isn't Chakravartin also, like, the creator of...
I mean, it didn't help him out in the end.
And based on what I saw, it looks like fucking Ashura just like rage quit him to death.
I'm doing pretty good. Now
I think the best part about Asura's Wrath is when you guys both are doing quick time events.
No.
Oh, did I cut out there? Hang on.
You cut out for a sec.
Hang
Well,
on.
I have.
Alright,
Asura's Wrath is pretty much a shonen series wrapped into a game.
Literally, it's just an anime, but you press buttons with it, and I actually love it.
Okay, so with that said, for at the very least for the video on my channel, if Shin wants to keep recording, he can. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It seems we succeeded in our goal of our video here. So,
when people watch my video, they're just gonna be watching me playing gameplay because that's all I've been fucking doing mostly.
I mean, that's fine. As long as the audio comes through, that's fine. It'll be more entertaining than mine.
So, do you mind if I, like,
yeah, go ahead.
Shout out to my subscribers really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
So, yeah, basically I got fucking stomped here. So, if you guys want to check out Zimatorn's channel, he needs to get past that 1,000 mark. Go check him out. He definitely knows his shit.
Well, to be fair, this was a learning experience. This wasn't,
and I appreciate the learning experience.
Contest.
I'm not saying like I'm salty or anything. I'm actually
no. It wasn't a learning experience about grammar.
Hey, shh. This was not a contest to prove.
No, I get it. I'm just memeing around.
Excalibur, are you aware of 47?
Oh my god.
Alright, now it's time for
aware
the
of
real
the number
fight.
47.
Mangler Nightmare is actually 2A.
You know what? You can fuck right off.
Here we go. Alright, so I gotta go because my brother's giving me a
Your brother's being a little pussy.
Yeah, whatever. Alright, so thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day. Obviously, if you guys want to check out Excalibur's content as well, you guys already know his channel. He does have more videos out there.